Look who it is. It's Taylor Kyles. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, you're surprised? Yeah, it's
Seen
Taylor Kyles.
seen you more than my family. And I live with them.
Hey, man,
And
no complaints here. It's always nice seeing your face, especially
hi.
bright and early today.
Yeah, hey buddy. I'm sure I haven't gotten to meet your girlfriend yet. I'm sure she already hates me. And that's fine.
You're in
That's
trouble.
fine.
She's already developing some deep-seated jealousy towards you,
Yeah,
so
like this friggin' guy
be
doesn't
careful.
doesn't stop. I promise it'll cool down a little bit after this, but we're back. I'm glad to be joined by some of you here. And again, actually, I think the next hour is going to be a ton of fun because Patriots have a lot of picks. There's a lot of things that you can do. We just saw one team trade out of the draft and giving up a pick for next year, trade out of a pick for future picks, something you absolutely can and could do. Fourth round picks today, get your third round picks tomorrow. And that's not a horrible business deal if you want to kind of do that because you want to stockpile always for the future. You can't really sign 11 new players, and the Patriots did have all of those picks. They have 4 picks in the fourth round, as we know: 107, 117, 120, 125. 107 is coming up. So we don't have a lot of time to preview things, but we still will. We're going to talk, we're going to get some of Taylor's targets here, and we're going to spend some time uh, reassessing our feelings. How do we feel? How are we feeling today after what happened yesterday? And so we'll talk about all of that. We do want to let you know, as always, the show is powered by our exclusive wagering partner, and that is FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Go to fanduel.com/Boston. Want to lay some action here on what the Patriots might do today or really anything else going on in the sports world. Ton of stuff going on. NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB season, obviously. Just head to fanduel.com, deposit 10, bet 5, and you get 200 in bonus bets. Let's get into the fourth round selections here, and let's get into why don't you rifle through some of these guys, and then we'll kind of talk about it as names start going off the board. Some of your top targets here with kind of an emphasis on round 4 and what the Patriots can do with what's left on the board,
Mhm.
Taylor. And again, at least one of these guys has been around for a little bit here at the top of the board.
Yeah, so Dwan Jones, Albert Breer actually just had a report saying that it was about. I'll actually go to the tweet right now so I can be exact. Breer said that Ohio State offensive tackle Dwan Jones and Georgia cornerback Keely Ringo faced character and makeup questions going into the process and didn't exactly answer them through the process, which is why they're still on the board. So obviously the Patriots are one of the few organizations that could probably eat a guy who might not have a sterling character coming in, may need to learn how to be more of a professional. I guess I'll just knock those out. DeJuan Jones, Keely Ringo, obviously super talented players. They're going to, take some work character wise and technique wise, but very good players. Tyler Scott is one of the few really explosive receivers I think that is left. He's a guy who's really good after the catch and deep. He's just newer to the position of wide receiver, but he has a running back background, which shows in that run after catch ability. Zach Kuntz, one of the freaky tight ends in this class, get one of the more raw guys. So he's obviously his stock wasn't as high as some of the other tight ends taken, but a lot of fans still want to get out of this really deep tight end class with someone. I think he's probably your best bet. And then Corey Trice is a guy who I think fits that long physical corner mold that they went after, obviously, with Christian Gonzalez. I think that they could probably double up, considering that even though Jack Jones is technically 5'11", I don't think he really plays like a bigger corner. He's still a smaller body. I think Corey Trice would be a nice guy to add to that cornerback group and give them a little more versatility and depth in terms of size, rather than it just being Gonzalez and a bunch of guys who are under 6 feet tall.
Yeah, there's slicing some brisket here on the draft show. I've yet to eat today, so it's starting to look pretty good to me here. Okay, I mean, and again, the character concerns is always a tough one, right? Because
Yeah.
I, I sometimes think this is garbage, and I sometimes think it's a big deal. It's
Mhm.
really hard to know because I don't. So many things fall under the umbrella of character questions or concerns, and I think some of them are not concerns and some of them are concerns. I think ultimately it's hard to know without knowing specifically what those are. And again, what can kind of sometimes be unfair for some of these guys is these things tend to spiral and get out of hand. So again, without knowing what exactly is going on, seeing is there red flags, and there was with Broderick Jones. We heard some stuff, and when the Patriots traded down there, when that seemed like a pick that they certainly could have made, because of some sort of makeup issue or something like that. Whatever this is, are you taking a flyer here? And again, this is the luxury of having those 4 fourth rounders, is you can take flyers here if you do use all of these picks and miss here. So you can do that. It's kind of, the Patriots are uniquely situated to be able to do that, because it's not, I've just got this one pick and not another one for 100 picks here. You can fill other needs here. So I think it makes sense to try to take a flyer on someone falling down the board.
Yeah, and real quick, the Saints actually, their pick is in. They just took offensive lineman, more of a tackle, Nick Saldiveri. I know that's a guy that Evan liked a lot as a potential tackle for the Pats. He wasn't one of my favorite guys, but he was definitely somebody in that top 3 to 4 range where if they were going to get a guy who could probably develop into a potential starter, maybe just a high-end backup, I thought Saldiveri was one of those guys. But now he's off the board. So that's 2 guys that I think people like for the Patriots. For the Saints, also Kendre Miller was taken yesterday. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. First pick on the board.
ODU. Okay, so there we go. That's one. Patriots a couple more until they get on the clock. And we'll see what they do there. We're
And
gonna
also,
hang
according
out.
to Ian Rappaport, really quick, I'm sorry, according to Rappaport, Saldiveri is probably going to be a guard for the Saints. I know some people had him projected there, but he could have played tackle. So, kind of lessens this thing a little bit, losing out on him.
Yeah, totally. And just to update you, just programming note for the day. Idea is we're probably going to hang for the majority of the 4th round, because there's so much activity here with the Patriots, and there's a lot that they could do. But there's also some other things that we want to talk about. Revisit a few things from yesterday. Bill Belichick had an interesting press conference, pressed on Mac Jones. We want to get into that discussion a little bit. I want to kind of revisit the defense, day 1 and 2 strategy that the Patriots employed. That I still find to be a little bit curious. And I know we've gone back and forth on this stuff, but it is what it is. And also, there are other picks in the 6th round. Obviously, the Patriots can move around. They could theoretically move back. They could be in the 5th round. So we could be popping in and out throughout the day, as we normally do, as the Patriots continue to do things here. Mike Kadlick also did a Patriots beat earlier this morning. Chance he joins us a little bit later or is involved in some of the activity throughout. So again, rest assured, if you want to talk draft, particularly what the Patriots are doing currently, and maybe kind of debrief some of it after the fact, we will be here on and off all day long, as we have been through the first couple days of the draft, breaking it down, and nobody better than our man here, Taylor. So another thing you could do, and again, I don't know whether you will do, you do wonder if this is DeAndre Hopkins Day. I don't know.
For not for the Patriots, right? For
Why
some
not?
wealthy team, because he doesn't want to go to the Patriots, and 2, I've said this a million times. I just don't think he's really what they need. I think he has the same skill set that everybody else has.
Yeah, box safeties are what they need, but not a premium outside boundary wide receiver.
I don't think Mapu's a box safety. I don't think he's a box safety. I think he is a linebacker in a slot corner.
We're not doing this this early.
All right.
We're not doing it this early. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I took a poke.
You poked a little bit.
It's my fault.
Poke the cub.
It's my fault. I can't run from it. I started it. I can't be that guy. But I do wonder. I only say it in terms of price, and whether it's not here. You've heard the Bills. You've heard other places. I'm pointing this out only because trading for a player is something the Patriots do and have done. These are the types of deals that sometimes do get done on draft day, as teams see how the board falls, whether or not there's a need they can address, whether a team that they might want to deal with has a player, has a pick in the position where they can go and get somebody, and this is something that could be done. Whether it's the Patriots or not, who knows? They've surprised us and done sillier things, and I don't think they necessarily care what we think they need or we think makes sense. And if they did, they would have drafted a couple of offensive players by now. So obviously, they're going to do what they do, which means I think anything is in play. I ask this only because the price, as we had said, and we got Jacorian Bennett.
Yeah.
Las Vegas. Okay. I only say because the price of this second round seemed silly, and most people are like, yeah, you're lucky if you get a fourth.
Yeah.
And here we are in the fourth round. So you do wonder if this is something that could go down. I don't know. I haven't heard any buzz, but all of the buzz we'd heard up until now was nothing. Again, buzz doesn't necessarily matter. You're not interested at all here. Wouldn't
I mean,
that
he's
change everything? Wouldn't that change everybody's perception if they went defense, 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 and we're all sitting here raging, saying like, "What the?" And then they do swing a trade for a player. I think that would make. I think that would be a nice balm to put on these sore spots that we all have after day 2 of the draft.
I
Or
mean, yeah.
Judy, give me Judy.
Yeah, sure. Like I've been saying, Judy is someone I do like. If you get Judy for a fourth round
You're
pick,
not getting Judy for a fourth, but could you do Judy for a fourth in a future second? Yes, do it.
yeah,
Done.
honestly, yeah. I guess
Yes,
I wouldn't hate that.
do
I wouldn't
that
hate that.
deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. But you're not playing ball. You're not gonna play in the sandbox with me right here.
We played ball in March,
You
man.
eat
The ball fell under a car, got flattened, and it's been on the road since March. Yeah, I like Judy. Have a ton of respect for Hopkins. I think if he like were to go to the Bills or a team with an established number one where he can just be the number two who catches everything, like that, I think is a great fit for him. And also the biggest thing with Hopkins is he doesn't want to be in New England. He made that literally very obvious. So I mean, like when you combine those two, I'm not biting on Hopkins. Judy for the right price, yeah, that's more exciting.
Does anybody really want to be in New England right now? It doesn't look fun, does it? Look at everybody's draft room. Doesn't it look like they're all having fun? Philly's got like 85 dudes in suits sitting in the background like
Hey,
this.
Philly
Guys
should
are
be
high
having the
five.
most fun. They don't look like they're having fun. That's
Guys
a
are high fiving and hugging.
oh my god.
Ringo, bye bye. John Keely Ringo to the Eagles.
What did I say? Isn't that what I just said?
This
Right
draft is
before the show.
nuts for
Just
them.
before the show. I was like, if there's gonna be a team that's gonna take the chance on a guy with character concerns, it's gonna be the Eagles. I am so GD sick of Philly.
Eagles are
Roasting. Do
absolutely
something else.
murdering this draft. Holy wow.
God.
And you know why?
Cats are on
Because
deck.
you know why they can take a lot of different types of players on defense? Because they've addressed their offense already by
Yeah,
trading
they
for AJ Brown and
with a
drafting
first round
Devonta Smith.
I was going to say with multiple first round picks, and with the Patriots first round pick, they got Christian Gonzalez, who's going to match up with one of those first round picks this
I
year.
know, but can he catch passes? No.
Can
He
Gonzalez
cannot.
catch passes? Yes, he can for the other team.
um again, Eagles
Oh
having a
yeah, and
pretty
it's another bulldog also. That's
another bulldog,
crazy,
third
dude.
bulldog, incredible.
Oh my goodness. And that's just in his class. They literally had the entire front from 2 years ago, and now they got Ringo too.
It's incredible.
Sheesh.
It's incredible. All right, so you're not down on DeAndre Hopkins, which is fine. And I'm just saying it's interesting because that is something that could happen today. We've not discussed the idea of trading for players much with all of these fourth round selections. Do you believe that the Patriots might make every pick here? This is a lot of players.
Um, I think I could see it, and then maybe they package their sixth rounders into like a fifth for a special teamer because I think they still have needs. Like you could still get a tackle, a tight end, a receiver, maybe a defensive back or some other complementary piece on defense. So I could see them using all these fourth round picks, maybe packaging if they want to move up or something like that. But yeah, like fourth rounders, you could get rid of them. You can get picks in the future, but I think there's enough value here that they could use they could use all four. Who did
Yeah.
Indy get? Let's see. It says a pass around the clock. I didn't see Indy selection. Oh, my stomach hurts again. Make the pick.
Yeah. All right, so here we are on the clock.
DeWand, baby. Let's get DeWand.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, I really do. At this point, man, if you got concerns, it's a fourth round pick. If he's a jerk, I'm not saying he is a jerk. I'm just saying, like, worst case scenario, if he's a jerk, then, put him in Siberia for his first season until he figures it out and learns to be a pro. Again, I don't know what his character concerns are. So I'm just, putting that out there. But I mean, this is the round where you take those kinds of chances on talented players. So, but also for all we know, teams could anticipate him slipping even further. So we'll see. But with Ringo going off the board, clearly teams are starting to take that chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mingo and Ringo, both gone. Both could have been Patriots. That's
Ringo
fine.
and Mingo.
Yeah. Let's see here as we continue to wait here. And again, Patrick on the clock. Here's the top 5 players. See if Taylor Kyle's. He's had quite a few hits throughout this draft.
Yeah.
He conveniently forgot, some players that he really liked, who were available at times.
Are you poking? Are you poking?
Nope. No.
I did not forget about Zay. I just understood realistically with Gonzalez. Yeah. I was saying that in my head. He was the only guy that I wanted more than Zay, and once that happened, it's like, all right, can't have everybody you want.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Eagles, apparently. Jeez, it's still so silly.
Ringo, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Bulldogs on
to a defense that did not need much help
on Philly. Incredible. All right, we're waiting on the Patriots here, and we'll just kind of hang, and then we'll start getting into it. I'm going to say at least like 75% chance they pick somebody we're going to have to go to our programs to learn about.
That's honestly my fear. I've got the athletic scouting notebook open on my computer just in case.
I think I've got 150 lists up here, and I'm guessing they're going to draft somebody so far past it we're not even going to find them.
Jeez, it's going to be like Milk Hyper is never going to.
You also do wonder when they start doing funky things like kicker punter here, and you could definitely see, I know they signed a punter. You do wonder whether they address any sort of special teams here. No way! This is an early arrival. I didn't even get any list before the first pick. The Pats are on the clock.
I had to do it.
Did somebody say Darnell Henderson? Ding! Here he comes.
Fresh off a paint job.
So the pick is in officially.
Do you know who it is?
Not yet.
Give me a big Taylor Kyle's reaction.
Hey, Andrews, let's go. Center.
Wait, what?
They took center Jake Andrews, who is another one of my guys. He was in one of my mocks. So let's go.
You can't.
Let's go.
I'm back. Every time you mock someone, they're not one of your guys. I'm gonna put a stipulation there.
I've mentioned him on Twitter at least twice. I wanted him to continue the bloodline.
Okay, show me point to where on the list that guy is.
Let's see. 9 Jake Andrews. I'm gonna see the last time I mentioned him. Oh yeah, I said 4 days ago he was gonna carry the mantle.
Yeah.
I mean, they needed help at center. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. So it's from Troy. Okay, makes me wonder how long David Andrews has. I mean, again, it's just a backup at that point, but
they're just gonna hope that nobody notices and just flop the jersey. Yeah, I don't see him on this list, but that's fine. We're off and running here with Patriots' first pick, first of 4 today. Jake Andrews, center. Why don't you tell us some of the things you said when you decided to mock this person?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to look it up. So it's been a minute. So
he's your guy. It should be off the cuff.
Yeah, well, I'm not that smart. I can't be perfect. I can only do my best. But let me see. I'll look up my.
He's experienced. He started 37 games in college, 3,000 snaps.
Yep.
Below average agility and short area athleticism. I'm just reading off of NFL.com here, but
one thing I know, he was a guard, but he was happy to be at center because he figured to give him a head start in the pros. So team first guy, obviously there's level of maturity there. He's got some mental, like some processing issues. He's got short arms, but again, at center, it's really
these are all good things.
I mean, I'm giving you the profile.
I know.
Solid base, functional lower body and redirection skills, detailed, good in strike placement, proficient in the run game with clamp hands and some drive skills. So he's a good run blocker. He's strong. He's got good leverage, and he can adjust when he doesn't get good leverage initially, and he's good on combos. So, I think that this is one of the picks where I think you could argue it's a reach because I know that he was considered to be a late round prospect. Honestly, I need to watch.
Mark Daniels from Mass Lavius tweeted that he was a projected 7th round pick by the Athletic.
Yeah.
So, another reach. No trade, another reach.
What was the first reach?
We're not going to do this again.
Again, well, I know, man. Me and Barth did an hour or a half hour on Mapu this morning, and it's the same thing. It's they should have went with a wet. We're not going to do it. I can't do it.
We're not doing it. We're not doing it. I will only ask.
We're on to day 3.
No, we're going to do it, but we're not going to do it now. I will just leave this question hanging out there because this is the crux of what's happening. Are you telling me between picks 17 and 76 there wasn't a single offensive player that would have benefited the Patriots? Of course there was. Question was whether or not they prioritized it as much as some of us did. This stuff pisses me off. The massive reaches here. Again, why reach for somebody you can draft later with one of your zillion picks instead of packaging picks to move up? That's what I don't understand. It's like, why draft guys that are going to be there? This is the first of 4 picks. I mean, my goodness gracious, you're taking a 7th rounder with the first of your four-round picks. That just seems odd strategy. But again, it's that thing that Bill does, which is, I got my guys, I got my board. It's a small board. I know
it's
who
what the
is.
Mapu effect
He's
felt
on it.
The Mapu pick felt like last night.
What was Barth's take on it?
Sort of in a similar boat where he thought that they essentially could have grabbed him later, and that he's sort of confused. He was confused about his height and weight compared to where they're going to play him, because Taylor, right? Yeah. Taylor, you think he's going to play linebacker? He's only 215 pounds.
We're talking about Mapu? We're talking about Mapu?
Yeah.
I think he's a sub-package linebacker, so he's not probably going to be asked to play the run. And even if he is asked to play the run, he's better than every single one of the linebackers. He's better than McMillan. He's better than Mac Wilson was. So if they put those 2 guys on the field on early downs, I don't see what the big deal is with Mapu, considering he has great short area burst, so he generates a lot of explosiveness very quickly, and he likes to initiate contact.
It's not the player. We're not debating a player and how good he can be. The entire discussion is, if we ranked what we believed to be the top needs in the draft for the Patriots, box safety and or hybrid linebacker, edge rusher, or someone who could play on the line, and interior offensive line, we're low. Doesn't mean you can't use good players there.
Yeah, but I would say playmaker was high. I
know, but I mean, these are position. When you're a great team, you can bolster. You can look to replace. You can look to say, in a couple of years, I'm not going to have this. I need to keep cycling through. When you have immediate needs and holes, you have to find a way to address them in one of the phases of your acquisition process. And so, again, you have big holes you are not addressing that you're just going to enter the year with.
We literally said coming into the draft that the Patriots did not have glaring holes because they signed receivers, they signed tackles.
They didn't. They didn't. They replaced They replaced players with other players. You can debate whether or not they're necessarily better. So they're not. They have just shuffled pieces around. They did I have enough people to field the team, but they didn't improve in any of those areas. You're telling me that the offensive line and their tackle situation is better this year?
And what was last year?
I wasn't great.
100%. What do you mean?
I agree on tackle.
And also we keep saying they didn't get I'm sorry, but it is so frustrating hearing what they didn't get when it's okay, then who did you want them to get? What tackle did you want them to get? Did you want them to get Orlando Brown Jr. for what was it first going to be way too much money?
What's the point of the offseason to lay there and say there was nothing I could do? No, you got to try to. Fortune favors the bold. Conservative people that do things the way they've always done them, when it hasn't worked the last 2, 3, 4 years, when you have to take some big swings because you have fallen behind, if you just keep doing your thing, you're going to end up where you've been right now. So again, I think people want to see aggressive moves. I think people want to see them be bold. I think people want to see them move up and go get playmakers and address some of the big needs, who, again, why did we rank these needs as high? Because they needed to be addressed now, and you're still not doing it. You're not doing it. What do you get? A freaking 7th round center?
That's the pick. They have
can't
four
do an hour of
fourth-round
this.
picks.
I can't.
They have four fourth-round picks. Like, let's get out of this
Did we
round,
get a-
and then we can have our little hissy fits and everything.
Did we
They
get
have
a
four
Did
picks.
we get a let's go from Taylor there again at Andrews?
I got excited because I knew. I'm not gonna lie. I got excited because I knew the name. It was an initial thing. I was like, "Oh my god, I know who that is." But yeah, no, I literally tweeted. If you want to say it's a reach, I'm not gonna push back on that at all. Like, I'm not delusional.
What's going
But
on?
what
Is
I
someone
also
playing
said
like
was
asteroids right now? I'm hearing some weird feedback.
No.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
But yeah, they have so many picks. Maybe it was just they were like, we love Andrews, we don't want to risk somebody taking him. I don't know. I'm saying I don't necessarily agree. But they have 3 more picks, so we'll see what happens. Like, this is like what we always do, where the 3rd round pick in some years is terrible and it's an awful value and everyone complains for the rest of the day 2. And then day 3 comes and they get a crazy steal in the 4th round. And then people are saying, well, if you flip the value for those guys, it's actually pretty much even. So, like, this is why I'm not doing the.
Look, there's 2 sides to this coin. There's a lot of people who are just gonna friggin' they're getting good players, they're getting good value, they need this stuff, and then there's people who are gonna, freak out. Again, we say all of this with the caveat. We know they know infinitely more than we do. We also know that they're wrong sometimes. So again, it's all debatable. We're simply at this point debating the things that we know, which are the needs that we know exist, and the players that are and have been available that, depending on how they did what they did during these last couple of days, could have moved around and found different ways to take. But now they're just standing pat and just taking the next guy they got. Next guy on the board. I like this guy. Doesn't matter the position. Let's just draft a player, good football player, good, productive college career, and that's just where we are right now. So
The Patriots
and there goes DeWand.
traded up.
DeWand. Huh?
The Patriots traded up.
Well, let's see.
Pick 112.
I love that. I like trading up. DeWand just went, though, so there's your guy. Cross him
So
off.
To the Colts? To the Colts?
No.
There we go. The Jets traded with the Patriots. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
they got Pats got 112, Jets got 120 and 184.
Okay.
So they gave up a 6th to move up 8 spots.
Yep. Perfect.
How about that?
They have their eye on someone. That's perfect. That's what I wanted.
That's what we
I
like
wanted
to
for 2
see.
straight days.
Oh,
2
finally
straight
some
days.
positivity out of you.
Have your eyes on have your eyes on someone.
Just wait.
Go
wait.
get. Go get.
Wait about 5 minutes, Taylor.
All right, the pick's in.
It's gonna be a guard.
Are the Pats on the clock?
Yeah.
Do you know who it is?
The pick's in. I'm trust me, I will let you know as soon as I know.
You're afraid to tell us.
Oh,
I
boy,
swear.
I'm nervous.
You're afraid to tell us.
God. I'm not afraid. I'm afraid to find out because I don't know yet. I'm getting the dots.
We love trading up. Here's the thing. I feel better about trading up, obviously for those reasons, because it's I like this guy, I want this guy. But let's just see what.
Oh my God, they got a kicker.
Perfect.
I was positive I was positive that was what they did.
Yeah.
Who?
Chad Ryland.
Okay. That's the.
I'll look him up. That's one of the guys. I don't know who he is.
I believe he's.
Yeah, I think that tells you how the Patriots see the rest of this board. I do not necessarily agree with the fact they took a center and a kicker in the 4th round.
Special teamers, the rest of the way. That's where we're at right now. Have fun, guys. Have fun. That's what you got.
Chad Ryland was the 2nd kicker in the Beast NFL Draft Guide for the Athletics. So, okay.
Yeah. I'm seeing multiple reports. I have one listing that has him the 10th rated kicker.
Well, I trust Dane Brugler. So
I do too. Dane does a good job.
He's very, very smart. He knows his stuff.
A kicker. That's fun. So it was Jake Andrews and a trade up for a kicker. How much do you guys love this draft? Who's loving it right now?
Well, I know, of course, it's really easy to complain about them getting a kicker, but Jake Moody literally got taken around before this, so.
I'm gonna
And
be
and
completely
they were universally roasted for it, and that's fine.
It tells
That's
you
fine.
how these teams see the board. When teams start taking special teamers, it's because they probably don't have a lot of faith that the guys that are on the board right now, they think they'll either probably be undrafted free agents or they don't fit whatever criteria the Patriots have.
What would you not defend out of curiosity? What pick could they make right
I'm
now?
just
Like,
here
what if
to give another
if they
opinion
pick a
because all
backup,
the doom. I'm not doom and gloom the first time I hear something.
if they
I'm sorry,
pick a
that's not
backup
me.
goaltender out of Bemidji State, are you going to say that was a good selection?
I am telling you what I think they are thinking. I just
like
said
the
I
Ryland
don't
pick.
agree. I don't necessarily agree if they don't like the players left on the board. I think there's a lot of, like Isaiah McGuire, for example, is somebody that I was taking in the third round of mocks. I think there's a lot of guys that I still like, but I'm not going to sit here and like panic just because I don't like what they did. I'm going to try to think it through. And if I think it through and I don't like it, then I'll be pissed. And then I'll go on Twitter and I'll make a fuss.
They identified a need and they went up and got it.
And people have been saying they haven't been going after needs
but here's
for the
the
past
thing,
2
That's
days.
perfect.
Okay.
They needed Nick Folk probably won't make the team. You roll with Chad Ryland, a guy who played at Maryland, colder weather state, so he's kicked in the elements.
Yeah.
It's not a Southeastern Conference guy, so like, look,
5-year kickers. He's got a ton of experience.
They identified a need and they got aggressive to do it. I'm okay with that.
Listen to the scouting report from Lance Zierlein.
I wasn't okay with them sitting back and reaching. They
Mike, you're
went
gonna like
and
this.
got something. So go ahead.
5-year kicker with 4 seasons at Eastern Michigan and 1 at Maryland. Ryland has the leg to make 50-plus yard field goals and handle kickoffs, but it is nothing special by NFL standards. So he's not Justin Tucker, but he's probably better than Folk, who wasn't really making 50-yard field goals and wasn't doing kickoffs. He'll need to improve his overall accuracy and placement to make an NFL team. Okay, that's fine, but if he was the second-best kicker, then that probably means that they weren't going to get anybody.
He doesn't have a big leg, and he's got to improve his accuracy to make a team.
It's just entirely too early for this. It's entirely too early for this. I'm sorry they didn't get the perfect kicker, John. I'm sorry. They didn't go to the lab and just like create someone like Powerpuff Girls.
If you take the second guy off the board, you want to not have that many question marks. Questionable leg and questionable accuracy. What's left?
John, you find me the best kicker in the draft outside of Mooney. Please.
Good holder?
Please.
I'm saying just take, if it's a jag, just take him later.
Sure.
Take one later.
Sure.
What are you doing? Take one later.
You know better than the Pats, so I'm just a guy.
Why do analysis if we're just going to agree with everything they do? Why?
Well, why do analysis if all we're going to do is complain and scream every time they make a choice they don't like?
Were we happy about Gonzalez? Did we think they got value with the second-round pick, even though we wanted offense? You got to call it how you see it.
Dude, I literally just said less than 10 minutes ago that I don't think Andrews was good value. But I also said that they may not see the board that way. Like, so I don't know what you want from me. I'm giving you as much logic as I can. I'm just a human being. I'm doing my very best.
Boys, please.
I got 2 hours of sleep. This is mind-numbing. I'm just, all right, at least they got a guy who can score points finally.
I'm super happy with this pick. I love this pick. All right, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's that sugar spice and everything nice.
Jake Andrews. Ahmed, we're getting this one? The kicker graphic?
Oh my God, 9 quote tweets already. Sheesh.
Yeah.
It is polarizing. Well, they did say that they were, I forget who it was exactly. I'm not sure if it was Belichick or Grove that was mentioning that they have to build for not just this season, but also next season. So I feel like those are, again, you can argue the value. But these are clearly 2 moves where they were saying, like, we have to address needs. And hey, for all we know, he might be the kickoff specialist and they give Nick Folk 1 more season if they're not totally confident. We don't know for sure, but obviously with getting a center and David Andrews is still very much on the team and is expected to play this season, Who got DeJuan Jones? Browns. Nice.
Okay. What's next?
picks they have left? They have one more and a few picks, and then they should be done for a while.
No, they got 2 more. What's next?
No, I'm saying for a while. Then they don't have another pick until 135, but the next one is 117.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tyler Scott. Come on.
Now you want a playmaker.
Or Corey Trice. What? You guys are just lying on my name. You are lying on my name. I think I actually had a very well articulated tweet this morning to make my case. So I will hereby reference the tweet. Amit, should I send it to you so we can pull it up anytime I get teased?
Why don't you just tell me which one it is?
Okay, I'll find it.
Oh my God.
Somebody's got to stand up for me. I'm getting it from both sides here.
I'm saying nothing. I may not speak the rest of the way. I'm sure some people in the chat will be happy about that. I know Taylor will. I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna let Mike and Taylor talk. Okay.
Now, see, I'm on board with Ryland though. And I just tweeted it too. I'm fine.
I would have been in the 6th round,
but
you still have some talent here.
But the thing is, they don't have a 5th round pick. 5th rounders are where they usually take their special teamers. So if you don't think that you can trade to get 5th round capital, and you're like, hey, I want to get my guy and not risk him being gone by the time we're on the clock again in the 6th, that's what you got to do.
I do wonder though, how important it really is. How important is kicker really at this stage?
Well, they know about Nick Folk better than we do. So
right, of course. I'm looking at it through the mindset of okay, and again, I said it 3 times now, but look, instead of them sitting and reaching like they had been with Andrews and dare I say with Mapu, they were like, you know what? I want this guy. I want him now. We have capital. Let's get aggressive. We hadn't seen that yet, so I'm okay with it from that lens anyway. A kicker, again. But is the need there? No, probably not. Could you have waited and got him later? Could you have waited and maybe grabbed another one? Sure, but they did it with conviction. So so be it.
And always when it comes to value, and you could have had this guy then, we don't really know. Usually the insiders are the ones who give us the scoop. So that's why I don't like playing the game of, you could have gotten this guy around later. It's that's a lot of teams that you're assuming aren't going to take somebody that you might really like.
I'm glad at least they added somebody who has a chance of putting some points on the board. Okay,
there we go.
There you go. He scores points.
He scores points.
Offense.
Here you go. Here you go, Bill O'Brien. Here's a gift for you. Here you go, Mac.
Yeah.
To be fair, Gesicki is their touchdown guy, and now they got their field goal guy. So there you go. Oh, who's that handsome devil? Taylor got receipts? Yes, I do.
Go ahead, read it. Read it.
Oh, you want me?
Okay. With Taylor, yeah.
All right, I feel like I'm at the top of the class. Okay. On New England not drafting weapons yet, Flowers and Kincaid were the only guys I felt could quickly become focal points, which is why I took Zay or multiple round 1 to 3 skill players in my mocks. Love Downs, Tank, Laporta, Darnell, but they're great complementary guys, at least right now. So my point there was that I've been consistent in my thought that if they didn't take Zay, then my next guy is Kincaid. But if Gonzalez is on the board, again, I've been consistent about this. That guy, I'm like, yeah, you take him if he's on the board at all. That's a no-brainer. Anytime I took Josh Downs, Tank, or any of those guys at the bottom, I always took another guy because I figured, okay, you get your big, kind of X inline guy who can move around in either Laporta or Darnell, and then you get a guy like Tank or Downs who can work underneath but also take the top off, but are also not, as bulky as a Flowers where you trust them to sometimes play more of that zero consistently. So,
that's it's fine. As long as they check this guy for tattoos before they drafted him, it's fine.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. So I learn and grow.
He was required to wear short sleeves on his pre-draft visit.
Please, we need full body scan.
They took him through TSA. They took him through TSA before the.
Yeah, that might have been the worst pick that I didn't justify it, but I was like, hey, maybe he's not a terrible human being. And then afterwards, I was like, honestly, no, I should have just sat back and not said anything.
God, yeah, that was the only criteria here. Do you have a big leg? Not really. Are you accurate? I'm working on it. Can I see your arms? Okay, you're hired. Take him. Trade. Make the
Do you
trade.
hate any particular groups?
Yeah. Are you affiliated with anyone aside from Maryland football?
Anyway, again, okay, here we go.
That was my most homer take, honestly, that I probably ever had, because I read a quote where he was like, I didn't know what it meant when I got it. And I was just trying to think, like, this is a young dude. Maybe he really is just so stupid that he didn't realize what that was.
I didn't
It just
think
took me a few
before I
minutes, and I
put
was like,
this
you know what? Never mind.
permanent marking on my body. Come on. I mean,
20-year-old
anyway.
very stupid as a current 20-year-old. But yeah, that was just crazy.
Okay, so here we go.
was
When's
wild.
the next pick? What are we next?
Has Green Bay picked yet?
Green Bay pick is in. A Patriots back on the clock at
Okay.
117 here.
I believe so.
All right, Taylor, you're driving this friggin' bus here. So you tell me what low need would you like to see addressed right now?
Get a weapon, please. Like I'm on
No.
board. I have never been against it.
We're past that. We're past that. Okay. What's the thing they need the least right now? Would you say? I'm going. You know what I'm going with? Quarterback. Third quarterback. We're getting an extra quarterback right here.
It wouldn't shock me.
Honestly, if it's Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I won't be mad.
Or I mean, even a Jake Haener from Fresno State wouldn't shock me either.
Quarterback, right?
Yeah,
here.
that's one of Mark Schofield's guys.
Yeah.
Quarterback or a guy who has no chance of ever playing a regular down and is pure special team right here. This is where you're going.
He's not even a quarterback. He's a holder. They traded
to 120.
Okay.
Where they know that they can get their punter.
Wait. Yes.
Honestly,
they have 117. They traded 120 in the Jets trade. So they have 117 and then 117 or 135 coming up.
Yeah, 117, 135. We're on the clock. We're on the clock.
I'm seeing City Sal.
What is that?
Okay. City Sal, the guard.
Yeah.
City Sal.
Yeah, we're like actually getting into territory where I'm like, I have not heard this name before.
Yeah, there's a reason why. These are undrafted free agents that they're drafting.
So I'm allowed to call City Sal one of my guys because me and Barth drafted him in a mock draft, right?
Where?
Yes, you may.
In the 9th round?
Mock draft. Let me find it.
If you know the names of day 3 guys, it's one of your guys because not a lot of people even know those.
We drafted him in the Speed Kills draft.
Athleticism score very high.
Yes.
Very high athleticism score.
I love what the Pats are doing right now just because it's basically trolling.
He grew up in Quebec.
Great white
Here's what. So after our mock draft, here's what I wrote up about City Sal.
Profiles on NFL.com as an average backup or special teamer.
Cool.
Do you want to listen to the City Sal?
Yeah. Go for it.
Round 6, pick 187. We took City Sal, an interior offensive lineman from Eastern Michigan. This was my write-up. Ever heard of City Sal? Neither had we. Let's learn about him. Sal is a 6'5", 320-pound interior lineman from Eastern Michigan. Put himself on teams' radar with a 5.07, second 40 at the combine. Played 56 games over 5 seasons with the Eagles. Would have a chance to compete with the Patriots swing guard spot with James Ferentz. That's what we're looking at.
I mean,
at least in my opinion.
The Patriots have taken 3 6th-rounders here in the 4th round. For whether you like the players or not, that's kind of where we're at.
They're on to 2024 at this point in the draft, and I think that's pretty clear. Dane Brugler says that, so this is his overall for Sal. He needs further development with his sustained recovery skills to maintain engagement, but his body type, play strength, and functional movements are solid foundational traits of a developmental blocker. He projects as a day 3 draft and develop prospect. So I don't think that's bad. And also, James Ferentz is getting older. You don't have an interior offensive line backup who you really are confident in outside of him. I like Cody Russi, but clearly they drafted a center, so they may not have that much confidence in him. This is one I can't really get that mad about. Again, I would love a weapon, but I'm not too happy with Jake Andrews. I've said it. I will repeat it. I don't love it, but I mean, this is clearly what they're doing. They're making. Oh, he had no sacks allowed and 1 penalty last season. Nice. I mean, at Eastern Michigan, but still. I think Cole Strange gave up like 1 sack his last year at Chattanooga, so not bad.
Where did Dan Brugler have this guy?
He was the 7th ranked or 9th ranked guard. He was behind Jordan McFadden, who I actually did like a lot out of Clemson. I was kind of hoping they'd take him. But Sal is 20 pounds heavier, so that makes a lot of sense. Like if they were looking for a big
Sal,
guard,
yeah, right.
if they're looking for a big guard who's probably going to replace Onwenu or something like that, it was going to be him rather than a McFadden, because McFadden was a tackle, so he's more in the mold of like a Cole Strange.
Yep, I'm still here.
See what Brandon Thorne says about. I trust him more than anybody. Oh, he actually does have one for City Sal and.
All right. So what's up? What's coming up next?
Oh, we got 135. We're going to talk about a couple other things non-draft related here because, why bother at this point? But again, rankings are what they are. You're drafting guys in the 190s right now in terms of like most draft boards, deep, late day 3 sort of guys is what you're seeing right now in terms of the way most people framed it. So that's that. That's where you're at. Pass catching running back, receiver, tight end, tackle.
No, thank you.
Nope.
We're good.
All good.
We're good.
We're good. We're good. We're good. All of these things. We're good. And again, you're talking about where your value. There's value in pass catching running backs in and around this area of the draft.
Yeah.
There's value in backup quarterbacks for developmental projects in this parts of the draft. I'm not quite sure what we're doing here. I mean, I'm not sure what we're doing here. Sidney Sow within anybody's top 200 prospects. Yeah. So PFF, Sal, 123 for whatever that's worth. Andrews, 189. So again, that's just one thing. MB doubtful for game 1. Okay, let's get some good news into this chat. While we wait for 135, let's talk about a couple other things that are going on here with the draft. Last night, we had press conference from Bill Belichick, and Mike was in on it. I was listening in as well. And one of the questions, obviously, anytime you ask about draft stuff, you're going to get, well, we like the players there that we took, and this and that. So you're not going to get insight. It just is what it is. But whatever. That's normal. You're not going there for that. But Bill Belichick was asked the first time to really talk to him since the owners' meetings, kind of, more clarification on Mac Jones stuff. Obviously, there's been stories. People believe what they want to believe here. Some people refuse to believe that there's anything going on beyond the scenes. But what you have is this kind of continuation of like Bill Belichick not saying Mac's name, not really fully endorsing him, saying everybody's competing, for a job. And, people have wondered why a lot of stories about Riffs getting mad about this, about that. He was pressed on it by Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. And here's what Bill had to say
This
in
was
regards.
awesome. This was a great job by Greg. It's a great job by Greg.
It's great. I mean, great, because, and I didn't include the first question, but I'm going to pick it up with Bill's first answer.
Well, I'm not going to respond to the anonymous quotes, Greg, so.
So, I mean, would you like to? Is Mac your quarterback as of right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, Mac. Mac's been our quarterback for 2 years, and as I tell the team every year, each player, each coach, we all have to reestablish and prove ourselves every year. That's what this league is. So, that's for all of us. 2023 is 23. We'll see how 23 goes.
You were very complimentary of him going into last season and the last training camp.
I'm still
view him the same way?
Absolutely.
Not really an answer. Is he your guy? Well, everyone has to compete. Kind of staying on that line. Do you still have confidence in him? Yes. I mean, do you still feel the same way you felt about him? Yes. So
The one piece of conviction was the absolutely.
absolutely.
Besides that, he paused a little bit when he was asked if he was his quarterback. He
He's
did end up
not giving
saying,
it up. He's not giving it
no,
up.
well, no.
He's not giving it up. But at least you know he doesn't think he's dog shit. But he's not giving it up to him right now. Still not. But Greg did a good job pressing. There was nothing, out of bounds about that. That's obviously, Greg's the one who asked it, and everybody ran to their keyboards and immediately wrote it because it's of interest. It's of interest, And again, problem with a lot of these Bill Belichick press conferences, for those of us who've been in on them or covered them for years and years and years and years and years, is you're not getting a lot of actual information. This was something, a little bit of insight, but doesn't necessarily provide much more clarity on what's going on with the Mac Jones situation. I think actions are going to speak louder than words here. They didn't trade up for a quarterback. They haven't drafted another quarterback. They are entering this season very much with the understanding that it's Mac's job to lose, I would say, right?
100%.
Yes.
But it's not Max. It's not Mac's job to have forever, but it's definitely his to lose.
He is the starter.
It's his to win.
I think he's his.
I think it's his to win. Yeah.
He can lose it. He can lose it.
Right.
But it's his job. He's getting the first team reps. It's not really going to be a competition between him and Bailey. I just don't see it.
That's why I see it more as like it's his job to win, so that long term, like, okay, yeah, we don't need to look seriously at quarterbacks. We can start, going with the plan of, if there's a good guy we like who falls to us in the second, sure. If there's a fourth round guy we like, yeah. But you're not actively trying to replace him.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and the pause to me isn't a pause about. The pause is this, and again,
Jets got good value at tackle. They got Carter Warren, who was, I thought, the best tackle left on the board. So the Jets
let everyone else get value and fill positional needs. We're fine doing what we're doing. The people talk about the pause as someone who, I will tell you this, you get used to reading what things mean when you've covered this as long as I have. That pause is not pause because he's not sure what he thinks. That pause is, I got to make sure I don't box myself in with the next thing I say. That's why Bill Belichick hesitates on some stuff. He made a bad mistake at the owners' meetings. Bad one. He never makes it, saying, the scoreboard, look at what I've done the past 20 years. Totally out of character, and he walked it back. He does not want to box himself in with anything that he says so it can come back on him. So right now, again, I speak Belichick. What he's trying to say to you is, yeah, he's the friggin' quarterback, but he comes in here and acts like a friggin' baby again, or doesn't perform well. I'm not sticking with him just because we drafted him 15th overall and the owner thinks he's handsome. I don't care. He's not good enough to absolutely walk in the door and be guaranteed that he's the starter. If he plays like it and he plays like we think he's capable of playing when we made him the 15th overall pick, of course he's the starter. But I'm not giving it up for him right now, and he's not going to. So I think that people can kind of put that to rest. Mac's the guy. Bill's not going to ever say anything glowing or whatever about him until he proves it, not just in camp, not just after a few games, year over year, before Bill's going to flat out start talking about him as like first name basis. That's the guy. Otherwise, Mac Jones is the quarterback position, and he will be for the foreseeable future.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what my perception's been this whole time.
Yeah.
You don't have a quarterback who can really compete with him, and outside of the organization, would you possibly get to replace him realistically? So, I think it's his job to lose at least this year. And then if he obviously succeeds, then I think you have more faith in that position going forward.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Small caveat I should mention at the beginning of all of these chats, we had a lot of people in here, and certainly some emotions run high. Please continue in the chat to be spirited in your debate, but please be respectful of one another. No name calling. Don't go at each other. Try to keep it civil. At the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of goofballs that like football and like talking about it, and we all have opinions. But let's just keep it to just that, okay? Try not to say anything inflammatory or anything like that about anybody on the screen or anybody in the chat right now. That's just my little, let's all play nice, okay?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
We're just having fun. We're having fun.
We're having fun. And here's the thing. The people who are raging, whether it be me or people in the chat, are doing it because they care, not because they hate the Patriots. You do have to understand that. Otherwise, you wouldn't say a frigging thing about it. So that's all I'm saying. And again, someone's saying our beef is with BB, not each other. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Projected towards him, not us.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
No, but
That's fine. We are going a little nuts. We are going a little. Cat's been here the entire time, day after day. So yes, thank you for hanging out with us, and we have enjoyed hanging out with you, and we really do enjoy the commentary and the banter. It cracks me up and it fuels me. Even if it's against what what we're saying out here. So we're moving along. We are at 120. We got another 15 picks to go before 135. I think it's almost silly at this point to start talk about needs. I wonder why anybody ever. I mean, I'm wondering if we should even do draft preview next year.
yeah, right.
Right now, the best you can hope for Bill's draft, certainly on day 3, is I took this guy in one of my 40 mocks in round 7, somewhere along the way, is the best chance you have of hitting, right?
I see it as we have our obviously positions of needs and all those things. And like I said this yesterday, as the draft goes on and we see who they take, that is how we see who the team sees as being, competent, potential starters, whatever. So the fact they did not address offensive tackle, didn't address wide receiver in the draft, but did do so in free agency, we can debate whether or not they did so sufficiently. I think that tells you they're pretty confident. And if you want to go back to, last year, dumpster fire, go back to Mac's rookie season. This is inarguably a better cast of receiving talent, and I think you could probably argue potentially running back talent than they had in Mac's first year. And he was a rookie who helped take them to the playoffs. And their defense should also be better this season. So, I know we all want the shiny toys and all that. Like, I get that. And yes, it makes the quarterback's job a lot easier. But I think that he is a good enough distributor. And if he plays his role, obviously, in a system where there's discipline and they're not shooting themselves in the foot with penalties on 2nd and 5 that turn it into 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 10 and all the stupid stuff they dealt with last year, I think that they can be a good enough offense that they can score enough points and the defense isn't going to give up 30 more than maybe once or twice a year.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have to look. I mean, you really do have to look a little bit deeper than overall numbers, Taylor, to assess how effective in general. I think we all do in terms of how good offenses, how they performed against good offenses, and where a lot of their defensive victories came against some poor quarterbacks and this and that. I mean, do you feel that?
Yeah, I know everyone says that, but
do you feel that good about it?
I literally just broke down the game plan against Aaron Rodgers. We're like, yeah, I'm telling you, I feel good because Rodgers, the reason that they couldn't win that game was because they could not stop size. That was, and obviously they had Bailey Zappi at quarterback, but Lamar Jackson, they held him in check until really late in the game, and that was after there was the interception because Devontae Parker screwed up his route, and I think one might have been a Mac Jones mistake. I can't remember off the dome how exactly those played out right now, but against the good quarterbacks, it's not like they're getting blown out all the time. They're competitive.
But Green Bay had a bottom half of the league offense and was not playing great there. And then we saw what they did the next couple of weeks after the Patriots. That was not the moral victory we put it out to be for coming close on that team. That Green Bay team was playing like dog shit at that point.
Okay, so we're just going to are we going to ignore the fact that, again, I literally watched every single snap of the game. So I'm the one to ask about this. Rodgers played lights out. Yeah, you could say they weren't good, but then when they got to a point where
they just had other personnel issues, Green Bay. I'm not saying just Rodgers.
Yes, but I'm saying against one of the best quarterbacks of all time, playing and looking like a vintage Aaron Rodgers, they almost beat that team. They stopped them the first time they had the ball in overtime and had a chance to win the game, and then had to give the ball back to Green Bay because Bailey Zappi was in his first career start and couldn't be trusted to actually execute a game-winning drive. So, when you talk about matching up with all these these good offenses, and I feel this way strongly, again, because I just recently broken it down, and it's the same trend. If they have the horses to match up man-to-man, they're good. And that's when their offense can just, score 2 or 3 touchdowns, and they'll be okay because the defense is going to be pretty good. But at the same time, you can add in the fact that Lamar and Aaron Rodgers were playing out of their minds and had some indefensible throws, which is where I do think the argument stands where you say, okay, you do need a guy who can keep you in those games and score quickly, which I think they have in Thornton. We'll see how he develops. how that necessarily plays out. But, I just, when you say, like, we look bigger than the numbers, I hate numbers. I'm not looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the tape. And what the tape tells me is that they have enough players on offense that they'll be able to score multiple touchdowns a game. It's not like last year where you have Hunter Henry, who scored 6 touchdowns his first year in New England, and he disappears in the red zone. They don't even throw it to him anymore.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not debating. I don't know how you can say that definitively. I think the
Not
most you can,
definitively, not definitively.
I think the most you can say is maybe there's some improvement there. I don't know that you can look at
I'm
it and
pushing
say,
back
like,
against the doom and gloom. That's, I guess, maybe.
there's no reason to push against doom and gloom. I'm asking for your honest assessment. A lot of what's going on in terms of assessing where the Patriots are is if this goes and if that happens and if this and if this that, instead of the opposite.
That's why I said
I always like, you like to have teams where it's like unless this happens instead of if this happens. The Patriots offense is an if this happens sort of situation right now. And again, we are talking there's a lot of unknown, and there's a lot of, I mean, again, we're talking, how do you feel about tackle right now? You feel good? Why did we all think tackle was essential in the first 3 rounds? You feel okay about protecting Mac, which is a pocket quarterback and somebody you really absolutely have to protect?
At least for this coming season, ironically, like, I was completely...
You're okay with the tackle depth.
Yeah. No. Well, hold on. What I was going to say was for 2023, I was okay with the interior offensive line. With Cole Strange, Andrews, and Owenu. Like, that's fine inside. And then they've now taken Jake Andrews and Sidney Sow to bolster that room up. Yet the exterior, the tackles with Reef and Trent Brown Calvin Anderson. It's like they haven't done anything behind
and Connor McDermott. They don't have top end talent. They're 5 deep. Like, if they think it's that bad and it's like last year, like, they have a crazy amount of depth. And Connor McDermott started most of those games, and he wasn't a liability. Like, no, he wasn't as good as you'd want on the edge. And he's okay in a league where how many teams have 2 even okay tackles?
Is Mac Jones
not excusing it, though?
Is Mac Jones the type of quarterback that can be fine with okay weapons and an okay offensive line?
I don't think it's an okay offensive line. I think it's a good offensive line where, I will completely
say okay protection and okay and okay / not
with good
okay
coaching, absolutely.
weapons.
With good coaching, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely with good coaching.
They're putting a lot on Bill O'Brien's plate. They're putting a lot on Bill O'Brien. We saw Mac
literally do it his rookie year. Like, people weren't saying the offense was bad his first year. They were saying, okay, he needs to improve, but the guy was a Pro Bowler his first season. And are we going to say that Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, and Kendrick Bourne sometimes was this great receiving core? Like, Jonnu Smith, even as a check down guy, wasn't doing all that much. Hunter Henry was actually being used effectively, and everyone's saying, ooh, look how great this connection is. Then he gets hurt, but nobody knew, so everyone thought that Hunter Henry just fell off a cliff. You know what I'm saying? I think Mike Gesicki is much, much better than Jonnu Smith, or really most of the receivers they had that season. I think Juju Smith gives you a proven track record, which Nelson Aguilar had 1 good year and hadn't really had anything close to that before then. Like, myself, I was projecting that he was going to continue that, and that was wrong. And Kendrick Bourne had nothing more than a wide receiver 3 or 4. And now you get guys who are at least been, like, really good number 2s on their offenses. So I do think that with good coaching, with good scheming, not making Mac's life actively harder, and, good enough protection, I think they'll be fine. If I'm wrong, I will happily admit it. I'm not trying to be a jerk.
They expect a lot from Tyquan Thornton. They're expecting a huge jump this year.
Which he's a 2nd-round pick, like, sure.
They should. That's not that crazy. But, again, there's a lot on his plate. And as far as Kendrick Bourne goes...
Is there really? Like, how much is on his plate? Like, even if he's your number 1 receiver and the guy who you're funneling the offense through, the offense.
Oh, you just said how much is on his plate, and then you said they're going to funnel the offense through him. I'm tons on his plate. They're funneling the offense through him.
No, of course, no, I understand. But I'm saying if he's more of a 750, like 800 yard guy, and then you have like 4 other guys who are getting 400, 500. That, like, I'm sorry if I phrase it poorly. I apologize.
It's all good,
but that's what I mean. Like, with Tyquan Thornton, if he is the guy that you're saying, okay, like, he's our game plan guy, he's the one we want to scare teams, I think there's less on his plate because you have enough complementary pieces. Whereas last year, if you wanted Tyquan Thornton to be your guy, you were screwed because Hunter Henry, especially health-wise, was not there. Yeah, but I mean, not a lot of teams even have that. And again, I understand. Like, you can always compare. This team has that. This team doesn't. But for me, it's okay. Who's your coaching staff? How well are they prepared? Can you actually attack defenses and take advantage of those things? Whereas last year, like, their scheme put them so far behind the 8 ball. We saw them like have drives where they could actually win games and shoot themselves in the foot like 4 times. Like, those are the games that just stick in my head where, yeah, you want to see them score more consistently, but they were in plenty of games and just bad discipline, poor play calling just made things impossible. It was just, I guess, my biggest point.
The number one issue last season was undeniably Matt Patricia and co. calling the offense. So that's the point here.
Like, that brought them from like baseline to way under. Exactly. And now they're at the baseline, and you expect significantly more because O'Brien's a top, I think it's fair to say, like, top 5, top 7 offensive coordinator in the NFL.
100%.
I think it's pretty fair to say. So
yeah. I would agree. I'm a big Bill O'Brien guy. The other thing too, as far as the wide receiver room goes, Kendrick Bourne was very good here his first year. Very good might be a stretch. He was a solid player. He's a playmaker. He was
like their most explosive guy, and it wasn't close.
Yes. Yeah. And last year he was put in the doghouse for whatever reason we may never know. So,
and honestly, watching him closer last year, he made a lot of mistakes too, like drops. Yeah. There were some bad moments where I'm like, okay, I understand if you're number 3, number 4 on the depth chart and you're coming in and you're dropping a pass in a big moment. Like, I love you, KB.
Yeah, right.
But I can't get mad at the coaches for being like, all right, nope. Get back out of there. As much as, I didn't love Aguilar either, but, that's like, it brings me back to that where the coaching was bad, but also even the receivers weren't necessarily helping Mac out a ton.
Right.
So.
Okay.
That was fun. That was so civil.
Go get Charlie Jones. I pick one.
I'm just letting you guys. I'm just letting you guys go.
And look how diplomatic that was. We smiled at each other and everything.
I know. I mean, it was all wrong, but that's fine. It doesn't matter.
Purdue wide receiver Charlie Jones is who I'm eyeing at 135. 5'11", 175. He ran a fast 40. Experience. Last season's stat line for those of you who like numbers, which I know Taylor doesn't, he caught 111 balls for 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns for the
Those are some good numbers.
We didn't have the benefit of Mike being able to do this, but Taylor, what are we looking at here? Who's left?
I believe Tyler Scott's left. He's still one of my guys. I like Zach Kuntz. Again, he's like the last real freak athlete on the board. Although I do like Payne Durham, but he's more of a blocker who's like Who-Man, where he has crazy hands when he needs to, but that's about it. But yeah, those are my 2 guys that I'm hoping they can get. Or also Corey Trice. I really like him too. Cornerback Corey Trice. So we'll see.
Yeah. Mike, anybody here that you like? Are you leaving? Did he leave?
Oh, I'm here. I was about to hop off for a few minutes, but
no, that's fine. Anybody you like here?
I like the idea of Kuntz.
Whether it's this list or one of your own, any players left for you that you had in your mocks that you think are still available, that you think would be interesting, intriguing prospects at this spot. And again, we're at 127 right now, so a few picks left before the Patriots go at 135.
Zach Kuntz would be awesome. I agree with you there, Taylor. A huge athletic playmaker, and they have gone with athletes early. All the guys, everyone they've taken so far has like an A+ RAS score. So Zach Kuntz is one of those guys. I think he scored out as a 10.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Just he came from a small school. I think it's either inexperience or injury. I gotta look again.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people weren't totally sure.
He's not a great blocker. That's what it is. But he's a solid athlete. I think he's 6'8", and so that's a project at tight end that I don't hate because again, Gesicki and Henry are in their last years of the contract. Again, they still haven't addressed tight end, and they have 2 guys who are in their final year of a deal. So that's interesting to me too.
And one thing that I feel like because of that, it tells me that Hunter Henry is a guy that I think they're going to end up re-signing. I think they just want to see, okay, now that like we're stable and can actually support you, if you put together a good season, give him like a 2-year contract, 3-year contract where the 3rd year is kind of a dummy year. And Gesicki, if he plays well and he fits and Mac likes him, there's no reason they don't re-sign him as long as he's not trying to break the bank. But like tight ends aren't making that much anyway. So that's one thing about that position where I wouldn't be shocked if both those guys do end up re-signing next season. But it's still, you'd like to have depth and somebody to develop because behind them, it's Scotty Washington and Matt Solak.
All right, give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
So here we
I'll be
go.
back for the pick.
Oh God! Oh, hi.
Yeah, I left you.
No.
You're left alone with me.
I'm so scared.
Now you can't leave.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
He didn't get a chance to say anything yet, so I'm okay. My emotions are intact.
Best of luck. Best of luck. I'll come save you in a few. My bad. Be
All
right back.
right. Hello.
All right. No, I'll be good. There's not a ton left to say other than let's just see what they do here, rolling the dice with it. How about this? I'll ask you the question this way. Seeing the direction that they went right now, okay? Seeing the direction they went after the first two picks, would you have considered doing something different with those first two picks? Because again, the belief was you got Gonzalez, now you got to start plugging some offensive holes. A lot of people thought that was headed in that direction. What do you
Big
react
trade
to?
real quick. The Lions are trading DeAndre Swift, which was, I think people kind of figured that was going to happen. Jahmyr Gibbs to the Eagles, because of course, who else would be getting a great player for what I'm guessing is going to be like peanuts? Was it for a 6th round pick? Yeah, there's no per pick compensation. Jeez, man, the Eagles, Howie, sheesh. My reaction's been the same every time. I'm just stunned. But yeah, so instead, of course, I like Corey Trice. I like Kuntz as a developmental guy.
No, but I'm saying, would you have thought about the question is in reverse. No, seeing that they went with what they went with on day 3, looking at those first day 1 picks, 1, 2, 3, would you have said, I would have sacrificed this player for some offense here? Would you have gone?
Okay, I misunderstood.
Yeah, would you have maybe because we thought they would go offense after the pick 1, certainly after pick 1 and 2, and they didn't really. I mean, obviously, kicker, guard, are special teams and on the offensive side of the ball, but not in the manner in which people thought. Would you have maybe reconsidered and said, I think that was the shot to have addressed that need? Maybe I would have now looking back at it, maybe I would have gone receiver over Gonzalez. Maybe I would have gone blank over Keon, White. If you had it to do over, would you think, yeah, I could have done that?
I want to say yes, because I don't want people to think that I'm just trying to stick to my guns. But in my defense, I really did like all 3 of the guys they chose on defense before they were chosen. Those were guys I'd written about, had mocked, or whatever. So it wasn't totally out of nowhere. The only one where really I think you could maybe argue is Marde Mapu. If you want to say that you thought they could have him in the 4th, again, that's one of those situations where I don't necessarily want to say that because I don't know who wanted him. There was some NFC guy who said that the Patriots stole him and that they really liked him. I know he was a popular athlete. He's maybe the only one that I would say, okay, he could have gone offense and given Mac Jones another weapon. But at the same time, I really do believe those top 3 picks were foundational guys on your defensive line, at the linebacker / slot corner level, and at cornerback. So it's just really hard for me to say, no, I would take one of those guys back for, a Tank or a Downs, as much as I like them, because I don't think they necessarily have that level of playmaking ability. So yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry to stick to my guns here, but I really did think that those were good picks. Because again, I liked all those guys coming into the draft. And Mapu was already getting buzzed as a guy who could have gone on late day 2. So
a riser into day 3. And again, most of the conversations we had yesterday was not about the caliber of the player, more about the fit and the need, with what they had here. Whether or not you agree with it, those of you who don't subscribe to Boston Sports Journal with Greg Bedard. Greg, in a very civil, eloquent way, put down a lot of what we were saying yesterday, or at least what I was, and some of the critics of those picks, which is, Bill might not hate Mac, but he's certainly not doing him any favors right now. And, trying to justify why they went defense. And some of it just simply comes down to, that's Bill's comfort zone. And sometimes you do that and you see that offensive minded coaches, when they see players, the offensive ones pop a little bit more because that's their side of the ball. They feel better about it. For Bill, that's always been his case. I think he's more comfortable drafting defensive guys, looking at defensive guys and finding value in those than offensive guys, where he does feel like he's a tad out of his comfort zone doing that and has to defer to other people. So again, obviously the greatest football mind of this generation, having built, back-to-back dynasties, you're not going to talk about Bill's ability to team build, but it really does come down to comfort. Some of these picks might have been comfort picks.
I guess. I mean, I don't really get the argument that Bill they don't like to draft receivers because they've spent one.
It's not like to. I think it's just easier. You feel it's like I said, it's comfort. It's not I don't want offensive guys. Right. Screw that. It's just you sometimes default.
Well, I also don't think that Belichick is necessarily. Obviously, he's a major voice, but I think Matt Groh for the past 4 seasons has been the lead voice in the room, which is why I think we've seen such a philosophical shift to them being we want guys who test well athletically. That has been a common thread for the past 4 or 5 years. So I don't really I don't think it's about comfort necessarily. If they need players and they like somebody, obviously I think maybe you can make that argument when it was Bill, before the season where Bob Kraft reportedly set him aside and was dude, let your evaluators and your scouts do their job.
You think these picks today? Them. You think these picks today are scouts picks or Bill's picks?
That's a very interesting question. They feel like Bill picks for sure because it's special teams, it's trenches, it's guys. I think
everything
where the value
from pick 3 down feels like Bill picks.
I don't think 3 was a Bill pick. I think that was because again, that's a free. I don't think Mapu tested super well. I don't think he tested actually officially. I think he had a good day at his pro day maybe. But again, he was a guy who at the Senior Bowl that's the reason he was a 3rd round pick was because he was lights out at the Senior Bowl, was making plays, making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He had interceptions. He had really good plays in coverage. And he showed the Patriots staff oh shit, this guy's a great athlete who's very smart. His experience in different positions has given him a level of intelligence and comfort to be able to do different things. So Mapu, I know that some people don't like it because again, I understand people hadn't heard of him before. But if you look up his name in Senior Bowl, it's not a surprise why he rose because everyone had glowing reviews, and that's against the best of the best. And the whole point of it is to show what you can do.
It's not the players; it's the choices and the thinking behind it. I think most people were addressing needs today. It's very clear. I think outside of cornerback, outside of the first pick, that almost every pick since then addresses needs tomorrow. So and especially
all the needs today, I would agree. Yes, all the needs today, yes. I think all the ones that.
So that could be a strategy, which is Josh Uche has a year left on his deal, and as you said, how many more productive years are you going to get out of Judon? So you draft Keon White. Kyle Duggar has a year left on his thing, so they draft Mapu. You have David Andrews. You have no idea how much he's got left in the tank. Michael Onwenu, year left in his deal, so they go get a couple guys on the interior. This does feel like backfilling depth down the road as opposed to addressing needs now. And I understand, it's not a ridiculous strategy to think that. Let's be realistic. Rounds 1 and 2, you can get day 1 starters or start people who project to be starters. Rounds 3 and kind of 3-ish, yeah. I'm saying you can find talent everywhere, but in terms of where most of these people are, in round 3, you're starting to get people who could be quality backups, threatened to start. Again, just the general profile of who gets taken in rounds 3, depending on the position. Certain positions, you're still finding starters there, like running back and whatnot. You get into rounds 4, 5, you start looking at backups and special teamers and this and that. So they might be viewing that as, I'm not drafting anybody in the 4th round who's walking in tomorrow and starting. I think that's a little silly because we saw it happen last year at the cornerback position. Was Jack Jones a 4th?
Jack Jones was the 4th. Marcus Jones was the 3rd.
4th. Marcus was the 3rd. You've seen it with Onwenu. You've seen them pluck starters out of those later rounds. You've seen them pluck day 1.
They got a lot of good guys.
Javon Bentley was a 5th, I believe.
Yeah.
You've seen that happen. But they might be viewing that as I'm backfilling places where I'm going to have holes coming up, and I can't just be going out and addressing and paying $5 million for guards, for backup guards 2 years from now. I'd rather just have something in the tank, a year to develop, give some of them a medical redshirt year. I could see that being a strategy. It's not one that's going to get people super excited, but it does feel, looking at the positions, all of these are not positions right now. They actually feel like luxury picks right now and depth pieces, but they will be in a year or so.
And the thing is, the only reason I would kind of push back against it, like I'm not trying to be, like Belichick is everything. He's never wrong or anything like that. But if we looked last season and think about that really rough stretch where David Andrews got hurt and James Ferentz was at center, Brandon Thorne himself, I asked him, I was like, do you think Ferentz is like a competent backup? He said, I really don't think so. I think his functional strength is a significant weakness and he is a liability. So that's your top interior backup for every single spot. And it was so bad that he almost played tackle last year because they didn't have any backups left at one point. And that was when Trent Brown had to play despite the fact he had the flu and lost like 10 pounds. So I don't like the value for Jake Andrews. And I don't like being a value guy, as important as it is. But, I think it's pretty fair to say that interior offensive line depth was a significant concern. And if one of those guys goes down, God forbid Mike Onwenu goes down or Cole Strange goes down, who's your backup? James Ferentz is your
but again,
it's not good.
This is why you look at the pass catching position. How many tight ends and receivers do they have under contract after next year?
They have Devontae Parker, Tyquan Thornton,
I believe
Juju
2.
Smith-Schuster.
After next year.
Oh, after next year. Oh, yeah, it's Juju and Tyquan.
Juju and Thornton.
But
that's
it.
No.
So much.
All I'm saying is, and so what we went, and so you are actually ignoring. You're backfilling some places. You are ignoring others that are both present day needs and down the road needs.
You said for after next season.
I'm saying a lot of the picks here are after this coming season. 2 years from now,
I'm saying they will be they are valuable this season because the Patriots.
I'm not saying they're not. What I'm saying is receiver is valuable now and tomorrow because you have a pass catching problem now and next and a year after this. And so we talked about the sweet spot for pass catchers. It was that wave, that round 2 and 3 thing. As you're seeing, we're on day 3 here. How many receivers or pass catchers have been picked since we've been going here? We're about 30 picks in, 28 picks in, a single one. So they did miss that sweet spot. They did choose to move off of it and not address it there and kind of gave up on their opportunity to do so in any sort of meaningful way. And I think that's where people are going to look at this draft and say, that was your shot. You had to take it there if you were going to take it at all, and you didn't. And so now you've just kind of punted on this need, which is a present-day need and a future need because you don't have a lot in the pipeline beyond Juju, who you just signed, and Tyquan.
I physically disagree because they addressed.
This isn't a this player sucks. I looked at tape thing. This is objective.
I know. What I'm saying is, I get that they didn't get a receiver, but also if you're talking about what you need for the offense, you need protection. I think with Mac Jones more than you need a receiver. Mac Jones is accurate. Mac Jones can put the ball where he wants when he has protection. He was running for his life all of last year. And a lot of that was because the interior offensive line, yet Cole Strange was up and down, yet David Andrews was getting hurt. Obviously, the right tackle situation, when you only had Connor McDermott, you really didn't have anybody behind him. Yadni Kaju struggled, and then he got hurt. The offensive line was a bigger problem than the receiving core because even Kendrick Bourne, remember, what game was it? Was it against the Raiders? It was one of those really bad losses where after the game, he was like, it was
I
after
can't
the game,
even put it softly on
after the game, Kendrick Bourne literally said, we don't have time for routes to develop. We don't have any protection.
Taylor, this was the softest lob I gave you to no longer be ranting about the players, and you can't even agree on this, that they didn't have a need today and tomorrow at receiver. Of course they did.
I'm saying I don't think they agree with outside perception, and I don't think that's that crazy.
This is not hating. It's not outside perception. This is an objective fact. They have some issues they got to fill, but they chose not to do it. That's a choice. But let's not pretend it's fine. I don't understand the philosophy that I don't want to bicker over it. I don't understand the philosophy that every player they took is going to help, and every player they didn't take wasn't going to help anyway.
I never said they weren't going to help, but you take the players that you like when you have roles in mind. All of this is speculation. All of it's speculation. I'm trying to say, okay, here's who they have. Here is how they fit. I think that every single person they drafted this year could be a significant contributor. Could Josh Downs have been a significant contributor? Could Zay Flowers? Of course. All of those guys. Yes. But they saw their board and they took the players that they felt they were getting the best value for. I think in the first 2 days, Mapu, if you want to, sure. I disagree. I don't think you argue with it there. Today is where I think you can say, oh, if you really wanted them to get a pass catcher, that was your strong conviction, which I don't disagree with. And I am disappointed so far that they haven't gotten a pass catcher. Right. I agree with that completely. But at the same time, Viliame Fehoko got drafted. I think he was a guy that the Patriots had for a top 30 visit. I liked him. He was a pass rusher. But I do think that they did still fill significant needs. While I think maybe today is where you say, okay, maybe the value wasn't
we're looking at it. Everyone keeps saying this wrong thing in the chat, guys. We're not saying that they were getting a day one starting wide receiver in the 4th round. We're saying that they didn't address it in the early rounds and they didn't use their 4th round picks to move around. At the time, you can get impact players at that position. That's literally all that's being discussed. It is not who could they have taken instead of this guy. It is not that black and white. You've got to get past that. We're not looking, I'm not saying to you, Taylor, people are looking at it as who could we have taken here in the 4th? There's no starting. We know there's no surefire starting weapons with a Z in the 4th round. Like, that's not how it goes. We're saying they missed a sweet spot where you might have gotten something, choosing to address other needs instead. And then again, we are here. That's literally all we're saying. That's all I'm saying. It is not these guys they drafted suck. It is not these guys they drafted aren't valuable to them in some way. It is simply that they made a choice, and that choice was to not address that position, whether you think it's right or wrong. It's a choice they made. That's it. I don't think that this is illogical. It's not a hater take. It just is. It's a choice they made. They didn't move around to address a need that many people, yourself included, and a lot of other draft experts thought was something they had to address. So I don't want to just gloss over it as if everything is fine. Of course, you've got all of these picks. Every player is going to address some need. It's not like you're flush everywhere. You got to fill a 53-man roster. It is really hard to have good players and backups all over the field. So, of course, everyone's going to have some value here, but we're talking about where we thought they were going to go and why they chose not to do it and what the thinking behind that is. I'm just curious their thinking behind that. Not that they don't also need this stuff. If you had 30 picks and you took these guys and a few other people, great. But it's a finite number of resources you have to address your roster needs. And this was one place that they could have moved around. They chose not to. That's what's curious.
Real quick, let me address John Burkmeyer because he said the same thing 2 or 3 times. He clearly is trying to get this point across. Okay, hear me evaluate the Patriots draft strategy against the Eagles or Steelers. The Eagles or Steelers are teams that have great foundations. Organizationally, they can take risks with guys with. I'm not saying the Patriots can't. I'm saying I'm not sure if they want to because like a big philosophy of theirs is, kind of like that Parcells thing where it's like if he doesn't bite as a puppy, he's not going to bite as a dog. Where you get guys, and even Matt Gross said, you get guys with traits that they already have traits that you want, like toughness, professionalism, which I think is a common thread you saw with all the defenders. Like they are football dudes who are going to come in, do their job, all that kind of thing. The Eagles took some risks. Yeah. They took some guys who had concerns and dropped for reasons. The Steelers did the exact same thing. Now, I think they killed it. I think they had needs. They had their own needs. They addressed them very well. I'm not saying that the Patriots necessarily should or shouldn't have copied their strategies. I'm saying I think a lot of the value that those two teams got were because teams were too afraid to take chances. So, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to compare it to those teams necessarily, especially when, again, the Patriots got 3 legitimate guys who I know can be blue chip players with this coaching staff. Like, you got the Belichicks, you got Mayo, a lot of smart guys, especially Mayo, somebody with experience as an actual player, commanding the front and all those things. Like, I don't obviously offense, you wanted more, but defensively they loaded up and they have enough matchup pieces where you play the Bills and now it's not necessarily, okay, how am I going to deal with Diggs and Gabriel Davis? You put Gonzalez on Diggs and he's not as much of a threat. You put some help to Gabe Davis, and then, you're at least more in the game than you would have been last season when you had John Jones and Marcus Jones and Jack Jones trying to cover, those top-end guys. So, sure. I understand, like, yes, you said they made the choice. I definitely would agree. I am interested to see, like, and I, as soon as I can ask Bill O'Brien, I'm going to ask, like, how exactly do you see these guys' roles? Like, do you think that they are complementary enough that as a unit they are significantly better than the sum of their parts? Like, that's where I think they're going with this, and their mentality is. And I think it's the same with offensive tackle. Like, they have so many guys that they can throw at the wall. At offensive tackle, and then at receiver, they have enough guys that are competent and will make the catches, will run the right routes, who you don't have to worry about in terms of executing. That they're probably saying, yeah, we can still have a good offense. It's probably not going to be freaking throwing the ball like 20 yards every play or anything like that, but it's going to be an offense that can ball control, score in the red zone, and do all those things that they struggle to do. But I also agree, it's interesting.
It's an interesting choice made, and that's why all of the Bill hates Mac jokes are kind of proliferating the internet here. A funny low key thing here is how Mike Kadlick's pretending he has something to do just to avoid bickering right now, and also spinning our wheels because at this point does it even matter?
That was such good timing. I swear to God, I just sat back down. I literally, I promise you, went like this, and I heard you go, Mike Kadlick's pretending that, and I'm like, oh my God.
He was definitely just sitting there, and as soon as he heard his name, he was like, "Oh, nope, I'm here."
Oh
I'm here.
no! I just got back from the really important thing I had to do.
What
right
a
during
crazy
this
coincidence!
long gap in the draft.
I just had to reset myself. I literally ran in the house. I told you,
No,
I
we
painted with
appreciate
my
it.
uncle this morning. I ran in the house at 107. I had paint all over me, so I was like, all right, there's a little bit of a gap here. I need to go at least change. So
I love it.
here we go.
I love it.
But then I was just looking at the board. I'm like, they don't have a 5th round pick too. What's our plan for the 5th? Are we staying on? Are we doing?
No,
we
we're gonna drop down, and then
Okay.
I think if something super interesting happened, just to update everybody here, something super interesting happened, we might jump in just to discuss it. I don't know what that would necessarily be, but a trade or something like that. But then I think we'll probably hop in right at the tail end as they're kind of grabbing guys in the 6th round just to kind of do a little overview. And as some of those picks come in, again, they have a few 6th rounders, but I would imagine consolidating and moving up is fine because what are you going to do there? At that point, you're better off with your undrafted free agents. You might move up. That's where you're looking at more special team sort of options and this and that. So it's possible. We are at 133. We're getting close. We're getting close here. I am curious.
So many of my guys off the board. So many of my guys.
Charlie
are
Jones
gone.
went. Charlie
Jones went. Tyler Scott's gone.
Tyler.
Philly
Tyler Scott.
Yeah, I mean,
the Bears just took him. Maybe it's not. Oh yeah, it's on TV.
Yeah. So those are gone again. I mean, these are, whatever. Are we at 134 right now?
134. Yeah, Mike was on the clock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Mike, we were civil.
Really, I'm happy for you guys. What did we discuss? What did I miss?
Relatively, we talked a few things. We disagreed, but in a calmer sort of way. We were more talking about philosophically. It's it not being necessarily debating the quality of the picks that they took and their strategy, but just why they chose to go the way they went. And one of the things we talked about was addressing backfilling needs that you're going to have in a year or two at a point in the draft where you're probably not getting day one starters anyway. And so that was kind of the thinking there of why they drafted some interior linemen and potentially, as you're looking at Uche coming up and Duggar coming up, why they might have made those picks as well. So that was one of the things we talked about. But again, interesting choice to not have gone any sort of offensive skill players because that's also going to be a place where the cupboard is bare in another year or so. You don't have a lot of guys under contract. You don't have guys in the pipeline, and you're counting on the development of Tyquan Thornton right now as kind of your blue chipper at that position, and then Juju Smith-Schuster, who you just signed. Patriots are going to be on the clock here for pick 135. Who's left?
That's a good question.
Darius Rush is interesting.
Yeah,
Darius
for
Rush
sure.
would be a cornerback.
Is
Kuntz gone? Is Kuntz gone?
Kuntz
is still on the board.
Still there. Trice is still there.
Why don't you do that? Throw us some red meat here, okay?
Yeah.
A little something.
I'm about it.
Okay?
I like that. They traded it.
They did.
They traded?
They traded the pick.
Yeah? For what?
They'd find out.
The Raiders. They traded it to the Raiders.
right, let's see what the return is. And when they're picking again. If it's a few picks from now, we'll hang out. If it's deep into the fifth, we'll probably sign off and see. But yeah, they've made a trade.
They hate Kuntz. They hate Trice, and I hate them.
No, you don't, Taylor. Don't let Zannis corrupt you.
Yeah, I said it, and I was like, "Who am I becoming?"
Yeah.
I wonder if the Raiders. I feel like the Raiders could take a quarterback here.
It took me 3 years to get Lazar angry about anything. So I don't expect that this is going to happen this early. Do we know what they got? Still no?
Refreshing. They moved back to 144.
Is that in this round still?
No, I think this round's almost over. Let's see.
No, because we started at 10.
Yeah, 135, and then round 5 is 136 with Jacksonville.
So what else did they get?
So they got 144. So they have the 9th overall pick in the 5th round.
No, but
Oh, sorry.
oh,
They got
214. Oh, that's super valuable 214 pick. That was good. Okay. Why make this trade?
So they add another. So they get the pick. They picked up an extra 6th, which they traded for Ryland initially. So they essentially get the Ryland pick back. If you want to think about it that way. Yay! So now we have 12 picks again.
They're gonna package those 6. That's way too many 6th round picks.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, unless there's guys who they expect to be undrafted free agents who they really like. Like if Trice is there at that point, please pull the trigger. Although, like his slip is interesting because he's got some really good tape, and I was hearing about him more as the draft got closer.
Yeah.
All right, so we're in no man's land again here. Moving back.
We're stuck in no man's land. You guys want to wait it out?
Whoa, 9 picks? Yeah, we'll wait it out and then hop off. What do you think?
Yeah.
We can wait it out, then I'll eat breakfast.
We'll wait it out. I haven't eaten any
All right,
food.
I'm gonna hop off again.
Yeah. Laugh,
right.
losers.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten a morsel of food today, and it's 1:40. So
We got to take care of ourselves, man.
Yeah.
I know this happens all the time, and then it's just So we'll see. All right. Do we have the board, Amit? Do we have any updated boards here with where the Patriots are with their picks?
Speaking of food, and Amit, our producer, just messages us after John texts him and goes, "I've had 1 chicken tender in 2 days. I'll get the board."
Just so you know what poor Ahmed has put himself through. Those of you at home might think Ahmed is 4 people, and he should be, but he's not. He's one man, and he's been all over the globe to Atlanta and back again twice, covering the Celtics, going to the Celtics home games, and going bananas for us right now. So, unsung hero and the unquestioned MVP of CLNS Media. For those who don't know it and aren't familiar, many of you are. Ahmed has profile, especially if you hop into our Discord server. He's in there a lot. So yes, hats off to Ahmed. First round draft pick, easy. If we did a CLNS redraft, Ahmed goes 1 overall. We do. He's the number 1 pick.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So yeah, we're hanging out. 135 Raider selection. Who'd they take?
Do we know yet?
It's coming in now.
Aiden O'Connell, quarterback.
Purdue. Again, I don't hate. I mean, if a team wants to trade up for a quarterback and the Patriots want to take it, that's fine.
Yeah. Agreed.
I see a tweet from Lazar that makes a ton of sense here, just as far as what the Patriots tend to do in the 5th round. A punter would make a ton of sense.
Yep.
It sure would.
You get a punter, then I think they won the draft.
Definitely. Where did Ringo go?
Ringo went to the Eagles.
At what pick though? What was it?
I don't know.
The 105th overall pick.
105th. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, and I know I missed it when I was hiding, but Eagles also traded for Swift. They have so many Georgia Bulldogs. It's insane. The Eagles. Their whole defense.
I'm kind of sick of it, honestly. I'm kind of
Yeah,
freaking tired of
that
it.
team is a wagon. That team is an absolute wagon.
Sheesh, dude.
It is impressive.
Yeah. All right.
It's impressive what they've done. You know.
Yeah.
In the worst way. Because I keep remembering that the Patriots play them this year. That's not gonna be fun. It's in Gillette, though.
They're going to absolutely overwhelm them with their own line depth. The Patriots are.
Backup center Jake Andrews is gonna.
You're gonna be.
Hey, they're gonna bring out that 7-0 line package. You joke now.
You're gonna be hearing
wait.
that. You're gonna be hearing that name a lot on that day. The Jake
David
Andrews
played a little bit of fullback as a rookie, so don't be surprised.
Sure, the Eagles have the quarterback, the receivers, the running backs, the defensive line. Talent all over the field, but.
Keanu White's going to be the ball character.
But we spent 2 picks on a kicker.
But when we're checking the boxes, do they have the offensive line, the interior offensive line depth that the Patriots do?
Yeah.
Actually, probably yes.
Yeah, that's kind of their whole. That's kind of their whole thing.
That's kind of their bread and butter
because they pick the Georgia guys with character concerns. So
that is their bread and butter.
Good on them.
Special teams wins championships.
It also helps when you get two guys with character concerns, and then you also have Nolan Smith, who is like, I don't think I've ever heard of a leader like as highly praised since like Peyton Manning. Like everyone freaking loves Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
Yasir Abdullah, no! Ugh! To the Jaguars. That's my boy. I love Yasir Abdullah. He's a playmaker.
That's he's Louisville, right? Louisville.
Yeah,
Dan?
that was the guy who picked off the wheel route, forces.
Yeah.
It's gonna take me a little while to figure out your reactions, but excitement when they take a player you haven't mentioned, and then anger when other teams take players, but yet we're defending all of their picks. I can't quite piece the puzzle together here.
I like him. I wanted him, and that was value. He's in the 5th round.
I'm having a tough time.
Yeah.
I'm having a tough time figuring it out.
He is just he honestly is just one of the best playmakers in the entire draft. Like he's a tweener type, but man, he's really, really good. He's like Ninko Bruschi kind of vibes where he just makes plays. Like he's always around the ball.
Yeah. Garden Report, Monday. Don't miss it. Programming notes for those out there. Really good audience, really good crowd for the Bruins postgame. Scary stuff. Bruins have a Game 7 tomorrow. We'll have more Bruins content on all of our on our Bruins YouTube channel and on the CLNS Media website later today, and a postgame show tomorrow, 6:30 start, and then the Celtics playoffs begin on Monday. And Joel Embiid is doubtful for that game, so that should be fun. Yeah, that should be fun. Washington pick is in at 137. Where are they again? What number? 140. What did we say?
Patriots are at 144.
144. All right, we can make it. We can do it.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
If Amit can get home on one chicken finger, then
yeah, we'll get there. How about this?
I loved how he said. Not only did he say I'm on one chicken finger, his next message was, "I'll make the board."
Yeah, I'll make the board. Yep. So let's see where we're at here. Is the board? I will. I'm gonna leave you guys for about a minute or two. This is real. It's a need. I'll be back in 2 seconds here, and we'll keep it going for those again watching here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We're getting a little punchy. Obviously, we're at the end of we're into round 5 right now. The Patriots have traded down into 144. That pick's gonna be coming up in a few minutes. Here's where we stand right now. Gonzalez, yes. Keon White, yes.
Marte Mapu, yes. Yes.
Now you're finally getting it.
Yes.
Jake Andrews was like, okay. Ryland, I was actually on board with, and City Sow, I guess we'll see what happens. But
We will see. So that's where they're at right now. Patriots have a few picks left. They traded into round 5, down and out from 4th. They now have 40 6th-round picks that they're going to have to figure out what to do with here before this draft is over. So that is where we're at right now.
Yep.
And what did I miss here? Oh, did Amit? No. Okay, I thought that was happening. So we're here. I'll pop back in, guys. And again, a few more picks till we're done. Again, thank you guys for hanging out. As we said, we will continue to get through, hopefully, pick 144. Then we'll take a little powder. Might jump on to do a wrap once they kind of do everything. See if anything interesting happens later in that 6th round. These guys carry it for a minute. I'll jump back in.
sounds good. All right. So Taylor. How are we?
Hey,
doing?
buddy.
Hey.
Dude, I love day 3 of the draft. This is where the magic happens.
I hope and pray that I go back and forth because it's like, okay, I wanted weapons. I want them to just add something to their offense that can make you add point scorers. Yeah, you got Ryland, but that's 1 point every touchdown, right? Like,
Hey, kickers end up being your leading scorers in franchise history.
I know,
So
yeah.
I'm just messing around. No, man, like I'm on the same boat, and that's why I'm not trying to make it seem like they didn't need anything or I didn't want them to take anybody. But really, like I thought Zay Flowers and Kincaid were just like those dudes.
Yeah, right.
Where it's like, all right, if you miss out on them, then like sure, get somebody else. But those were like the real dudes in this class. It's just I guess part of it is just like because we literally have to wait and see. Like we're not going to know until training camp whether or not this is an experiment that's actually going to work. Where you're like, all right, you're hoping that, if you're at least 3 deep in pass catchers who have proven experience, like Ty Montgomery, if he's healthy, all right, then you got a good receiving back. Mike Gesicki obviously like plays the expectations. You control the middle of the field with Hunter Henry. Those guys take over the intermediate middle. Then you got Juju running over the short middle. Tyquan Thornton going deep. Like I think they have enough diversity that this isn't going to be as inept as it was last season with, again, looking back, like the past 2 seasons of Mac's career, like weapons weren't all that great. But they were still competent. They were still moving the ball when things were going well, right?
When you look back at like his rookie year, like they were serviceable, they were fine. Like they made it work. They made the postseason. Things were okay. It felt like surround him now, improve this operation, and let's roll. And then last year was just the complete roller coaster that it was. You're putting a lot on Bill O'Brien's plate. I still think you are. And there's a lot that we're almost expecting out of that guy. I don't know if it's to a fault. I mean, again, like you said, top 5 OC, I agree. He's a great offensive mind. He can run an offense. He understands, it's obviously like it's a fluid offense with a ton of concepts, and they can, he understands NFL football. But when you don't surround him with the personnel that, he might need to succeed, that's when I start to get worried. And we're just going to have to wait and see because.
And one thing also to think about is, okay, so this year they go defense heavy. All right. And it's a lot of positions where, and also on defense, like there's plenty of guys that could realistically, like Kyle Duggar is probably going to get re-signed. Like he's your Devin McCourty type, like leader in the secondary who's been there for a long time, knows how to make the calls, He's probably getting re-signed. Juwan Bentley's probably getting re-signed. Josh Uche is going to be interesting because he's a great pass rusher, but he's one-dimensional. Yeah. So you're going to have to see, a team like
he's going to command some money if he has another good year. So
exactly. So then, his market might be weird. You might lose him. Obviously, you address that however you need. But offense, the only really big piece they're probably going to lose next year is obviously if Andrews retires, that's big. But Mike Onwenu is the only guy that you're thinking is a free agent. He might leave. And of course Trent Brown. But at least with defense pretty much taken care of. You got a lot of young talent, enough veterans who are going to be around next year. There's your offensive draft. You got the veterans in the building. You got Tyquan Thornton developing. Got a good enough offensive line. Next year is where you allocate capital to the offense because the defense still did need help. And because they probably knew they weren't going to be able to get the horses on offense, like the weapons and the 3-level threats, to be able to compete on that side of the ball with Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, they said, you know what? Let's make sure this defense is good enough that we might not might not be Mahomes, but these receivers aren't catching the ball at the catch point because we're going to be glued to them and we have better ball skills. The offensive line, they may be good, but we're going to create one-on-one matchups, find your weak link, and attack. because against all the great quarterbacks like Brady and Rodgers the past 2 seasons, you're seeing them play man coverage as often as possible. So that's why, I understand it's gives you more, more confidence if you know that your offense can walk in and get into a firefight. But I think they understand we may not be built that way, and we don't have the money or necessarily maybe the draft capital or the roster where that is a need that we can immediately address. But they get a guy with the talent to be a top 5 corner in the entire NFL, top 10 if you want to be conservative.
Well, they definitely. What I'll push back on is they definitely had the draft capital to go get one of those guys. I think it's simply they didn't think
it had to be the first rounder though.
They didn't think that. Yeah, they didn't think it was worth it. They just. Yeah. I guess they probably didn't see the value that some draft pundits, including myself, saw in guys earlier on in the wide receiver class, or whether
and that's another thing that I do think is really interesting, because especially if Gonzalez hadn't slipped, if the Raiders had done what they were supposed to do and they took Gonzalez instead of Tyree Wilson, and obviously the Lions don't take a linebacker and a running back, which honestly when you look at their whole draft, and this is what I was saying on the day, their draft isn't that bad. It's literally what you expect from Dan Campbell. They got a safety, a linebacker, a running back, they got tougher. Oh my God, I kind of lost my train of thought. My bad. What was I talking about before that?
Why Bill hates Mac.
Yeah, probably something along that lines. But I was going to say, it would be interesting to see if Gonzalez had been taken before, then are we talking about maybe they actually do try to take Zay or Kincaid, or maybe move back, get even more capital, and then they're like, okay, we got the defenders, we could probably get those guys later, but these are the 2 offensive weapons who could change the complexion of our offense. Because Bill wasn't saying, we don't need offense.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson goes to Cleveland. A run on quarterbacks. The Patriots aren't going to draft a quarterback.
They meant it, I guess.
Clayton Tune went to Arizona, and then Dorian Thompson-Robinson went to Cleveland. So,
all right. So, who are the punters here that they're going to take? Let's predict it.
Michael Turk. Michael Turk, I would keep an eye on. Bryce Behringer.
Is it Evan Wingall? Is that the guy's name?
Wingate,
yeah.
Yeah.
Is he the guy who's also a kicker?
I think so. He's not even.
Is he related to Matt Turk?
I don't know. Actually.
Former punter.
Yeah, I don't know.
How many?
Ethan Evans from Wingate. That was the name.
You gotta have
Kincaid. Oh, that's it. Yeah, Ethan Evans. Yeah, that's the guy. Love me a dual threat kicker.
So Michael Turk's uncle is Matt Turk.
Okay, there it is.
Punters are in the family.
Punting DNA.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Former punter, NFL punter.
I was familiar with him.
Yeah.
Ravens? Is that where he played? Does that sound right?
Matt Turk, Browns, I want to say.
Okay.
But I'm trying to remember.
He was all over the map.
I remember the name, but I think a few different places. But yeah, I know it was Miami too. Yeah. Washington, Miami is where it was. So yeah, Matt Turk, uncle.
Did he play? He literally retired the year I started watching football. Yeah. So I've literally never seen that man in my life.
Yep.
So Patriots are up in 4 picks. So we're getting there.
Okay, so has there been a punter taken?
No. All punters are available.
Oh, thank goodness. Top cornerback, top punter.
Pick of the litter. All the punters.
So looking at punter, some rankings, seeing Brian Behringer, Michigan State, guy from Rutgers, Corsack, Turk in there from Oklahoma, Ethan Evans, Wingate, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dual threat.
So that's what we have.
He was under.
And 4 picks to go. Let's see here.
Zoltan, I'm looking at Patriots punters, like where they were taken. Zoltan Mesko was a 5th round pick.
They were very high on Zoltan, and he had an awesome personality and did a great Borat impression, but he ended up not being that great a kicker.
Yeah. It's so funny. So I went to a Patriots game in 2010, the one where they played the Vikings. I knew so little about football. I saw Zoltan punting and thought it was Brady. I was like, wow, he's flexible. Why is he doing that for a warm-up? I literally had no idea what I was looking at. I just knew the name.
Yeah, great name. So punter. Didn't make it past that first contract.
Yeah. And then Ryan Allen was undrafted. He was a Ray Guy Award winner, which is pretty
Jake
crazy.
Bailey. Jake Bailey was a 5th rounder. Did we?
Fifth
ever say
rounder
that?
for Bailey. Yeah.
Did I miss that? Sorry, I'm spacing
Yeah, he was
out
5th, 163rd overall. He was 13 picks later than Nesco was. Is it Zoltan or Zoltan? I never actually.
I've heard both. We still don't know if it's Rajon or Rajon Rondo, honestly. Some of those just never you just never find out. Let's see here. Other thing you could think that they might go to here?
Ronnie Bell.
Yeah.
And again, are there any of those kind of third down back sort of players left? I'm looking up and down. I know we're trying to keep track of everybody who's been taken, but that was something that you talked about. They do like to reload at that position, quite frequently.
I'll look on ESPN right now. Israel Abanaconda is, I'm sorry if I butchered his name. He's still on the board. He's a young guy who needs some work, but he's really crazy athletic. Eric Gray, guy from Oklahoma, so same system as Ramondre Stevenson. I liked him a lot. Deuce Vaughn, my boy. I love Deuce Vaughn, little mighty might. He's still, honestly,
like 5'8", 5'7". Even shorter. Might be 5'6". Yeah.
Maybe 5'6", 5'5", honestly. There's a ton of running backs, which is good news for the Patriots.
That could be something you see here because, again, you're getting special teams value out of that position as well. Yeah. But that could be something where you could see potentially here as another like spot where you could get something, remaining here as well. Vikings pick is in at 141. We're a couple picks away from 144 here. What will be a merciful end to our nearly 2-hour journey through this really interesting 4th round wave of picks and discussion.
I would do this every day, man. I'd do this for 2 hours every day.
I wouldn't be shocked here if they go Darius Rush, cornerback from South Carolina. That would be a good pick here.
Sick. That's a thing. There's still good corners, good running backs.
Who needs those though?
Tackles.
Who needs them? Forget about it.
I think both of the actual tackle prospects are off the board. I'm pretty sure now all the guys who are collegiate tackles are guys who are considered guards at the next level. Oh, Rush already went? Let's see where.
Oh, he did?
Rush.
Oh, my fault.
Oh, yeah, he went to the Colts. Yeah, the 3rd pick. Oh, you barely missed it. Thank you for calling us out, though. Appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
Dude, honestly, so 3 of the 5 people that have been taken so far were people that I really like for the Pats. So Yasir Abdullah, Darius Rush I liked. Maybe not as much as you, but I did like him. I just like other guys more, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So taking some shots to the heart.
Again, can't get them all, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Can't get them all. Curious what the chat likes here.
Even with 11 draft picks.
Who do you guys like? What do you guys like in the chat here?
Oh, Lord.
Any sleepers?
I'll see what receivers are left, but I don't think there's a lot of really good ones because
Bryce Ford Wheaton.
A.T. Perry, a lot of people liked him. Parker Washington.
I like Parker Washington. Yeah.
Ronnie Bell, Trey Palmer, those guys go.
Ronnie Bell might go undrafted, honestly.
Yeah, Demario Douglas. Yeah.
Bryce Ford Wheaton. A lot of people like him physically. I think he's an athlete. I don't think he's a football player. So, like, if you want him on the scout team, like they've done that historically, where sometimes with a really late pick or undrafted, they'll get a guy with just a really rare physical profile to run routes and give them an idea of what that kind of thing is like. But I don't
any
like
of these guys with returning chops.
Ronnie Bell has returning ability. I think Parker Washington does, I believe.
Yeah. Cleveland pick is in at 142, 2 picks away. Patriots going at 144. Let's lay some action here. What are we thinking positionally? They're going to go here. And again, for those of you who still want to run to the app right now, FanDuel, if we haven't told you about it, FanDuel.com/Boston. Sign up here, get 200 in bonus bets. When you deposit 10 and make a $5 bet, 200 in bonus bets. Once again, FanDuel.com/Boston. What are we thinking, guys? What position, if you had to roll the dice, you've got to make your
Holder.
I
Holder.
think
Long snapper.
think they'll draft a punter. I want them to draft a wide receiver or a tackle. And I've wanted them to do that every pick since 14.
But at this point,
But we
like I
know
said,
it's gonna be a punter.
I stopped wanting that.
No.
I stopped wanting that after round 3, honestly, because I just don't think you're getting players who can really contribute there. So,
what do you want?
I have not wanted receiver. I want the third down back. I want someone who might be able to contribute somewhere on offense. That's what I'm hoping for.
The third down back situation is weird because obviously Ty Montgomery's coming off the big injury, so you don't know what he's going to be. But also, Patriots love with their guys like giving them 1 year and then their sophomore year, it's like you're the guy. And Pierre Strong,
but
they tried to use him like that. No, last year.
Yeah.
The interception against Buffalo last week of the season that he threw to Aguilar, where it was just a bad matchup, they had Pierre Strong running up the seam on like a 3 verticals concept, that special one they used with Ramondre Stevenson his rookie year, and he was wide open. Mac just made a bad decision on it. So I do think they see him as a guy who could, because like they're not going to put you in that role if they don't think you could do it. Like Kevin Harris isn't running those routes. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Ty Montgomery can take the job back or Pierre Strong proves that he can be that dude and pushes him.
But Strong was not drafted for like his third down value. That just wasn't his. There wasn't his.
There was speculation that he could because he was fast and he had soft hands. It was like, okay, he's not a super experienced route runner, but
no, I mean
again,
also
like
an off the charts athleticism score.
Right.
And fast, but not not super jukey and not a guy who'd really be used on third down. More of a guy, that you would see as a potential early back down value. So I don't know that they have that on the roster unless Pierre Strong starts to get more reps in more traditional early downs, and you kind of use Ramondre Stevenson in both facets there, and not have to carry the entire load all season. But I wonder
against Pierre Strong not being jukey, because there was a play, 1 or 2 plays he had against the Cardinals where he made guys look really bad. Like that dude is juiced up, and I hope he gets a bigger role this season. But I definitely see him as primarily a change of pace back. The receiving part is speculation, but I do remember that being part of his profile where people thought that he might be able to do it, but just didn't have enough tape to know definitively.
Patriots are on the clock. The Jets pick is in, so we're coming up at 1:44 here. I'm going to let Taylor announce the pick when it comes.
Let's see.
When it comes. We're not there yet. Did you just say, oh no?
Yes, I stepped on a nail. Yep, they're on the clock.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Here's another big part about Jake Andrews.
He took a top 30 visit.
He also was coached by Cole Popovich, who used to be on the Patriots. So that's basically like what they would do with Scar, where they would try to get his approval before they would actually make a pick. So that makes, again, the value. Antonio Maffi.
Is this a guy we've mentioned?
You'll never guess what position he plays. Interior offensive line.
I liked him though. Actually, no. This is really nothing. I'm
gonna have to mute Taylor for a little bit.
Okay, fine. I'll just do my thing over here. This is the 5th round. If you're mad about who they pick at this point, that's on you. I don't care. Like, yes, we all want.
I friggin' love this. We are running a 3-guard offense rest of the way.
He's
here.
355 pounds, 6'4". Like he, I think, is actual Mike Onwenu insurance.
I coached Mafia at the Shrine Bowl in February, for what it's worth.
All the guards. Give me all the guards.
hey man, you literally have a pocket passer and they just got 3 interior offensive linemen. Like, I don't think that's the worst thing in the
Can
world.
if you're gonna do this, can you undraft Cole Strange in the first round
I
at
know.
least?
Sure, I'll ask Doctor Who if I can borrow his time machine real quick.
It's I don't know how I feel about this pick, guys.
Who
I
cares?
just
I really do.
I'm
he was one of my
Cole Strange, though. What does this tell you about Strange? It tells you
He's
they're not
355 pounds. Stop. He's 355 pounds. They don't play the same position, so it says nothing about Cole Strange.
But so is Mafi going to play tackle?
I think Mafi is your Mike and Wendy.
A right guard on Wenu.
And I think Andrews is like strictly a center. And then I think that oh my God, I'm sorry, what's his name? Sal? I think he's more I think he's more of your like could play anywhere on the interior kind of guy.
Someone's got to tackle Bill. Oh, yes. Mafi. Bills, Mafi. Here we go. We did it. See what I did? Okay. Okay.
Interesting. I don't know how to feel about it. They have so many guards.
You have a lot of guards until you don't have any, so it's not like interior offensive line is a position known for players staying healthy.
Okay, let's put a bow on it. We're gonna put up this board, and then I'm gonna smash my computer, and I'm never going to talk to any of you ever again. Christian Gonzalez, Keon White, Marte Mapu, Jake Andrews, kicker Chad Ryland, City Sal, Antonio Mafi. Guard.
Can't say they didn't add offense on day three.
That's what we got. That's what we got. Patriots now have 1, 2, 3, 4 sixth rounders and a 7th round pick remaining. We are going to wrap and sign off a little bit. We are going to probably jump back a little later, put a bow on it, talk about some of the late round picks. If there's any hidden gems in there, check out our Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel for deep dive kind of analysis on each of these picks as Taylor kind of digs a little bit deeper into his film and tells us what we've got in some of these players, what we like, areas of strength, areas of improvement that they need, what their role is going to be here with the Patriots, not just this year, but hopefully going down the road. And that's what we're going to do. So look for us, follow us on Twitter, follow each of us here and all of our handles as well. We'll retweet anytime a link goes out with a programming note. Easiest way to be able to keep track of us is to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also hit that little notifications bell, and you're going to get it right when we go live. But look for us coming back a little later and stay with us on that channel. We're going to have a ton more to say. Guys, in a word, describe your feelings about the Patriots draft. Taylor, one word.
Yay defense.
Okay.
Mike. Yay defense. That was one word. Yay defense.
Unsurprising? Not surprised, I guess. Yeah, at the end of the day, as much as I wanted them to make a splash on day 2 and 3, it's just sort of been like, dudes, whatever you want to call them. Uninspired. Uninspired is my word.
That's a good one. For me, typical.
And there we go.
I'm like reading comments and people are saying that Strange was a wasted pick because they got 3 backups inside. Like,
correct.
That's such a stupid thing to say. That's a dumb thing to say.
Correct.
God, I need food, I need sleep, and I need to get off the internet for like half an hour. I'm spent.
Guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you to Taylor for enduring the beating for a little while.
Namaste, mother truckers. I'm sick of you fools. I love you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, viewers. As always, honestly, it's we do this, for you, and we enjoy it, and we enjoy hanging out with you, and we enjoyed hanging out with you guys over the last few days. There's still more to come, but this is we're through the meat of it here. I love some of these words that people are throwing out to describe. There's their one word to describe the draft. Donnie Wahlberg likes it, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, what's Marky Mark think?
Welcome in.
Should I read what Brandon Thorne said about Mafi so we know what the expert says, and not just the idiot who?
Let's hear it.
All right. So overall, Mafi is a wide-bodied, tone-setting presence with good natural power and an understanding of how to maximize his size using patience that is impressive considering his inexperience level, which, aside from the experience level, is obviously similar to Onwenu strikes. But he plays short with an upright style and inconsistent punch timing that saps his leverage in the run game and leads to too many quick, clean losses in pass protection. So mechanically and technically, he needs refinement, obviously. Mafi is worth rolling the dice on as a potential backup guard in a downhill gap-paced run scheme because of his size, demeanor, flashes of power, and possibility for untapped potential considering how new he is to the position. So he's the kind of guy that you'd like, a guy like Adrian Clem to get, where he's got that. It's the same thing with City South.
Projects.
Yeah, that's what day 3's for. You're not getting starters on day 3.
Except when you do, but that's okay. I mean, it is what it is. You never know. Any one of these people could be the next Joe Tooney or Shaq Mason, because that's where they drafted them on day 3. And so you never know, again, here, what you get out of these picks, but that's where we're at. Thank you guys again for hanging out. As I said, stay with us. We will be back with more.